Hello, hello. Hey, everyone. Hey, Chef Halton. Ooh, there's a lot going on today. Well, maybe there isn't a lot going on, but I feel like there is. So first, let's make the today command. Oh, also, hang on one sec. Check something really fast. Yeah, okay. Oh, how many days until launch are we? Days until 71 days, yeah. 71 days until launch. Adam is still working through his backlog of tasks. He just wants to make the game better. Ooh. Hey, Stockton. Beat by 1 second. Beat by 1 first, you mean? But maybe next time. Okay, we got a lot to do. So enough idle chatter. I want everyone locked in. The next 71 days are super important. No more talking. Hedgehogs really like that. All right, let's start with the tenant review. Oh, this usually says tenant review. It didn't now. Okay, so sustainability. I've been working more than normal. It's mostly coming from weekend time. And a lot of it is launch related. As such, I don't think this will stay at a heightened state for a very long time, since we're 71 days from release. But that's still quite the stretch. I'm going to keep an eye on this. For now, I feel fine, and I think it's because I'm fueled by the launch motivation. Yeah, and bricklaying. Well, that's usually time to look at the journal. Is this the same level it normally is? Let's put it there. All right, what did we do last week? Worked through the to-do list, fixed issues. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've almost entirely been working through my to-do list. I think this is important for now, but I think its importance is going to wane on the development side as we get closer to launch. Then the Steam-related tasks, like making a trailer, will become even more important. I hope you all had a good weekend. I have some interesting news. So I already did this. I started marketing again on, hey JD, I started marketing again on maybe Thursday, I think. And I did some kind of minimal efforts in terms of just getting back in the swing of things. I reached out to some people via email. I messaged some people on Discord and on Twitch. And I got a couple of responses. It wasn't anything like major yet. But then, seemingly out of nowhere, look at this. So if I click 1 week, this is the wish list graph. And you can see it was like 9 additions, 6 removals. So there were a total of 3 additions this day, net additions. Then 19 additions and 6 removals. Okay, that's plus 13. And then this bar just goes up. Like, I'm not totally sure what's causing this. But you can see wishlist editions went from 16 to 38 to 59. I mean, I hope this just continues trending upward. But you can see wishlist balance is like plus 1,800%. So I don't think this is because of me. Similarly, if we look at the sales and activation report, we have 4 people playing the game right now. And in the last week, we've had 187 people claim the demo. Now, it might look like, oh, this has been going on for a week. It hasn't been. This has been... Can I show this? Maybe I can't. Oh, I could do custom. Okay, yeah, this will probably work. All right, so we just look at the new year, like January 1st until now, update. That was 160 of those 187. So the last 4 days have seen a massive uptick. And before that, the last 3 days were only plus 9 per day. So if we just look at today, it's like 30 people have already claimed the demo. Like I said, 4 people are playing it now. So I don't exactly know what caused this, but this is very good news. And I think I have an idea. If you just go to Steam and you type in, I guess you go to any of these things, view all text. Okay, so let's go to one that I know this works for. Where's Auto Battler? There it is, Auto Battler. So we click Auto Battler, and then scrolling on this page is really weird. Browse. There are only 2,000 of these games, so what I'm about to show you is not like super impressive. But if you click popular upcoming, so first of all, this says all upcoming games sorted by wish list. I don't think that's totally true. I don't think it is sorted by wish list. I think it's also sorted by the upcoming date. But so like we're two games down, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You have to click show more, 14, 16, 18, 20. It's not that far from here. 22, 24. Okay, never mind. It is that far from here. 26, 28. It's like 28 or something on here. So I think this is what's causing, not this specific tag, Auto Battler, but I think this is what's probably causing the increased traffic is like Steam is surfacing this in some popular upcoming areas. The reason I said I don't think this is entirely based on wish list is because I looked at some of the games that are above this. Hey, Kazoos. Like if we go to Shopkeeper, for example, how do I go to that same page? Well, how many? Oh, there are only 419 of these. That's probably why. Okay, never mind. Maybe this isn't why I'm getting more traffic. Anyway, there was some other game that looked like... I can't find it. Yeah, I can't find it. Anyway, there was a game that I looked at that was like a platformer game that had no discussions, no demo, no reviews because there was no demo. And it was rated above Skeleseller in the popular upcoming. I assume it's because it was upcoming sooner than Skeleseller was. This is not me trying to like rank myself necessarily. It's me trying to figure out where's this traffic coming from. So yeah, I haven't found any new YouTube videos. I haven't found any Twitch streams. I'm Googling the game. I don't see anything. So it's not from like some influencer picked it up and it's just not on my radar. So I'm hoping that this continues to pick up. But even if it stayed at like plus 50 wish lists per day or something like that, that's still really good. I do think it needs to go up by like hundreds per day maybe. But hey, we got 71 days. Maybe it'll keep rising. Okay. So I have some notes here. This is just remove a blank space, remove a blank line. This is update the README. This was me doing a test here. This is another perf trace that we can ignore. Update README on editing fonts. This is based on the response I got here. Well, here being just this issue. This issue. Also, it's worth saying this on stream, I guess. I mentioned this in Discord, but I filed this bug on Friday, and I assume the owner of the repo, I'm not actually totally sure, but they're at least listed as a contributor, sent like some really thoughtful responses, and I greatly appreciate it. And I told them I appreciate it. It's not like I'm just saying this on stream. But yeah, I think this is a really good illustration of open source kind of working for everybody. Like I got a free product out of Glypher and they got some feedback and the live stream, which I said was helpful. And then hopefully everyone gets this bug fixed eventually for them. Who knows how many people it's impacted or who noticed it, or I mean, if it hasn't come up before me, maybe I did something unusual. Hey, Nepal. Hey, been a while. I was told an influencer picking up your game doesn't always equate to success. It doesn't always. It depends on a lot of different things. But I guess what I was trying to get at is like, let's say I had +3 wish lists and then +4 and then +2 and then plus like 4,300 or something. Like this is not just some normal everyday thing. That's such a level of variance away from these numbers that it's like this indicates that something important happened. And usually what that means is an influencer picked up the game. It does not work the other way around. It doesn't mean that an influencer picking up the game is going to lead to a spike in wish lists. But if you see a spike in wish lists and you don't have any other explanation, it was probably an influencer. Or in this case, it was possibly just that we're getting closer to launch. There are some confounding factors there. I think the old launch date that I had set was actually in February. So like the launch date was actually sooner before this. I also changed a tag from strategy to RPG. I don't think that on its own would have had a big difference. I also published some minor updates. Maybe got picked up by some site or something. But I think this is just Steam pushing traffic. Hey, Phil, like Cuddlefish. Hey, Leap Your Girl. Greetings from Winter Wonderland. First day is Volunteer Plus in language class. I'm so tired I might sleep for an hour soon. I think it went reasonably well and can't wait for it to be an actual job. Yeah, nice. I'm glad to hear it went well. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. If they pick up the game and told people to wishlist it aggressively, I guess that would equate to success maybe. Yeah. Again, just to be super clear here, I'm not saying that this is I'm not saying an influencer picking up the game will lead to success. I'm just saying that if you saw some like gigantic increase in some stat, that it was probably an influencer. And that, by the way, that's the graph that we saw earlier. I did not show this, but I'll show this now really fast. So we go look at wishlist count. And we go to all history. You will see a massive spike here. This was like 1,200 wishlist ads in a day. This coincided with these videos appearing on YouTube. This one by Avok, they got 46,000 views, and this one by Idle Cup, they got 97,000 views. That was like poof, super shot up. I'm saying it's a possible contributing factor. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. Okay. So what are we going to work on now? I think there were some issues that were reported. I also should probably look through Discord messages really fast. Yeah, let's do this. I don't usually do this on stream. I can only do this one on stream. So influencers do have influence. Yes. I'm pretty proud of this one. Systems expansion, oligarchicals. Pretty good. Interesting. There's some German discussion here. I don't know how to phrase this the best in English. Oh, also interesting. So they put power in the glossary for German. I didn't even know that was a thing you could do. Browse. Power. Oh, yeah. When talking about the power of something. I'll add a comment here and just link to this. Whoops, not like that. This copy. Where's copy link? Copy link. There was a short discussion about this on Discord here. Note that I think all instances of talking about power in the game just refer to a power level in general. Think Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if you've ever seen that. They have physical power. They also have a bunch of energy moves. It's like the dumbest comment I've written. By the way, I wishlisted. Must have done it a while ago. Not a big streamer, but I will play your game on stream. Nice. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just very excited leading up to March, but I don't know what to expect. In fact, my wife and I, for the last, I don't know, maybe 3 years, we've had a predictions spreadsheet. And these are silly things like, will we get another cat in 2025? And then we rate yes or no. In this case, it's a yes or no question. So we rate yes or no. We give it a confidence level in terms of percent. So 0 to 100%. And then at the end of the year, we tally up the points basically and figure out who's better at predicting things. So this year, my very first question was, will Skeleseller sell more than 10,000 copies? And my wife immediately was like, I don't want to answer this. I don't want to talk about this. I hope it'll sell more than 10,000. So I was like, what's your prediction? You just tell me. So she's like, yes, 80%. And I think I said no, 50%. I'm not very confident about it, but like, obviously I hope it sells a lot. But yeah, I don't really know what to expect. So yeah, we'll see. Hey, Mohit Kumar. All right, so cursor changing. Oh wait, I haven't finished reading through this yet, right? I have a trailing space. Are we supposed to maintain this? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Why does this have a trailing space? I think this is just an accident. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just an accident. No, it is. Where'd the 10,000 number come from? Oh, I just came up with a random number. Yeah. I guess what we could have said is like, how many copies do you think it will sell? But that's kind of hard, and probably a lot changes between March and December. How many wish lists do you have right now? I think it's like 9,500. Which, I mean, it's not, you know, amazing. It's not bad though. Yeah, 9,549. And again, just today alone has been plus 37 minus 2, so plus 35. Do you use Godot? Yeah, I use Godot. All right, I'm going to write this on here that the trailing space is unintentional. Where'd that go? The trailing space here is unintentional. Feel free to keep or remove it. It doesn't really make a difference in, yeah, it doesn't really make a difference in the UI. They are all almost certainly unintentional. Oh, I could search for all of them, can't I? Because I could do, well, I could just type test here. But what I could search for is space $, caret dot star space $. How do you search for a regex? I feel like this should have worked. Maybe a space needs a slash. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, well, let's search for PO dot star. Yeah, so this is definitely not working. Because I know for sure that this exists. How do you search for regex? Weblate search with regex. Searching. Regular expressions. Anywhere text is accepted, you can also specify regular expression as R regex. Okay, that is not something I would have expected. So we type that in and an R. Oh, come on. What am I? Is that where I need a space or a slash? I don't know if you escape spaces. Okay, let's try this again with a basic thing, PO dot star. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. For example, the search for all source strings, use source R whatever. Okay, let's try this. Does this work? Yes, that works. So then let's just go take this and do space. Okay, so we can search for things with a space in it, but I can't search for it when it ends the string with a space. Oh, there it is. What did I do wrong before? Because I had a caret? I did caret dot star and then space $. Now it's finding it. Maybe because I needed source colon. Okay, that might have been it. Excited to play it on my second monitor? Yeah. I'm glad. Hey, Mr. XQ. Do you have a number of sales in mind you need to be economically viable or something? This is a really tough question to answer because of a number of factors. I'll try to talk about this really quickly. So one, the budget of the game, I had very, very low. $500, pay people based on revenue, basically. I wanted a lower upfront cost because Botland was very expensive and paid off almost nothing. So the budget was low. My like ongoing costs have been pretty low as well. And I'm probably making another game no matter how Skeleseller does. I say probably because there's probably some realm where, like, let's say Skeleseller, I don't think this is ever going to happen, but let's say it made like $10 million. Like, maybe I just work on Skeleseller for another 5 years and then get sick of game dev or something. But in pretty much every other reality, yeah, I'm probably making another game, even if Skeleseller makes like, I don't know, $2,000 or something. But yeah, then the final piece of this is just the economics of game dev compared to regular software engineering. Or compared to really anything. Like, imagine if I worked at McDonald's, I'd probably make about $40,000 per year just based on minimum wage in the area that I live in. That is that's quite a lot of money for you to make on a game from Steam. Because to make $40,000, you need to remove Steam's cut. So you have to make $57,000. But you need even more than that. Well, I guess not if we're comparing pre-tax salary. But anyway, you need to make like 60,000 per year, which then you need to divide by you need to figure out like how many games you have to sell to actually get that much. And I guess we're selling it at probably like 15, but on sale for a little bit. So maybe let's round to like 14. So we need to sell like 4,000 something copies to make, times 2 years. So we need to sell 8,000 copies to like have made more money than working at McDonald's. Is that likely? No idea. Yeah, typical. You can ask a question. Big streamers play your game after release and it becomes like a trending game. That'd be something. Yeah. I think the games that become like a mega hit have a lot of lasting power. There are, what is it? I forgot what it was. Like the 4 draws of a game. And there's novelty. I don't know. I don't remember the other ones. Anyway, one of them is like lasting power or something like that. Like how long can you continue to play it? And I just don't think Skeleseller, it doesn't like linger for very long. Like Balatro, people could play for 2 years and probably still be having fun. I don't think someone could play Skeleseller for like 2 months even, unless they're playing very occasionally. I could only find one, but that is indeed unintentional. Search. I added an explanation on the site to talk about it for now. My favorite games are those with lasting power. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I mean, the way I look at it is this. Let's say you had the option between getting $1 and getting $2. You're going to pick $2, right? So let's say you had the option between a game and a game with a lot of content, or like that same game with a lot of content. You're probably going to pick I like the game, so yeah, let's get a lot more content. So yeah, this is the ideal way as a consumer, but it's not always easy to make a game that works like that. Like Undertale, for example, fantastically successful game. I think it's amazing. But I don't think anyone out there is really like, oh my God, it's got 700 hours of content or something. It just doesn't. It's got maybe 10 hours of content. Yeah, sure, you can replay it or you can come up with challenges or something, but it's not like Balatro where there's any difference between your 3 runs that you could do, maybe 4 runs. Hey Remy, hey Half and Half, and hey Franken. Do you have a marketing plan or will you be doing that through a publisher? Yeah, my marketing plan is mostly like influencer and press outreach. I'm gonna run some ads eventually. Yeah, it's not too intense. Working on my expense tracker. Jetpack Compose is hard syntactically, so I have to use a lot of Stack Overflow and AI. Would you recommend using AI? Not for writing code, but for answering or slight debugging, maybe? I think it all depends. The way I kind of talk about this is like, do you want a product or do you want to learn how to make the product? If all you want is a product, I think AI is probably the best way to go. If you want to learn how to make it, I think AI is probably one of the worst ways to go, unless you're just using it to fill in any learning you couldn't have done yourself. So yeah, I think it's a call you'd have to make. And I would say if you're unsure, then just probably use AI lightly. And just, yeah, see what you're doing, see what kind of issues you're struggling with. Because as an example here, I write bash scripts every once in a while, like maybe once every 2 months or something over the course of my career, maybe even less than that over the course of my career, maybe like once every 4 months, to the point where if I even need to check is X equal to Y, I don't know how to do this off the top of my head. And I don't care that I don't know how to do it off the top of my head. I'm totally fine asking an AI or Stack Overflow to be like, how do you compare numbers in bash? It's just not important. And yeah, I probably have some, yeah, like this. It's 2 square brackets, then a semicolon, then and phi at the end. And like, okay, sure, whatever. It's syntax. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, if I didn't know what a conditional was, for example, that's something I wouldn't want to lean on AI for. I think marketing is more important when it comes to games. I think marketing is important when it comes to everything that you might be selling. I think maybe the only time where marketing isn't important if it's like maybe like a local restaurant or something like that, where it's not like you need to go market in a different country or come up with a different language. It's like you could just put up the restaurant and people will see it and then they'll talk about it if it's good. But yeah, for any global product, I think it matters. If your game is under $10, I'll just buy it. I'm planning on having it be $15 and there'll be a launch sale of like 20% off maybe. So yeah. 14 inches of snow, man. Yeah, okay. So I think I've answered these things. Let's remove this. Now, are we particular about using digits for numbers, even if it's singular? In German, it's usually best practice right out you gain 1 ray instead of you gain 1 ray. Like that. I'm not particular about this, so I would do whatever feels best for your language. For, I'll just say German in this case. Yeah. Okay, let me go look through a couple of these other messages really fast. These are DMs. Hey, just a heads up. I played the full demo. I'm having a look into the menu now. Thank you and Happy New Year. Hope you enjoyed your time playing the demo. Okay, anything else that's important to respond to? I don't think there's anything important yet. Okie dokie. All right, so now let's get to some actual development work. Thank you, Rami. All right, cursor changing. Where'd that go? There it is. All right, this is something I think Cinestella reported. Let me take a look. Yeah. I don't really understand this one, but the gloved hand disappears if you hover something long enough. It seems to not happen on a fresh game, but more and more stuff is going on. It can happen pretty quickly. And then he linked to this. So you can see in this picture, there's the gloved hand and then... Oh, you know what might be happening? Maybe it's an item going in here and changing the cursor as the mouse enters and exits it. If so, this is pretty particular. I want to look into this, but I don't know if I want to fix this even. I don't know if it's very important. But I would guess it has to do with that. And the way we could test it is just by having a worker walk through where the mouse is, not necessarily the garbage slime. Let's click new game here. And go grant some items and add a worker and then just hover in its path. So like right here, what happens? Nothing. Okay. Well, let's try this then. Let's do what Cinestella did. So I'm hovering over this. Oh, it did change. Is it because an item was picked up? I think it's because items are going away. Yeah. I think it's because an item disappears. It seems that way. I wonder why that's triggering this. Is that what's happening even in this GIF? I can't see if an item disappeared. Maybe it's if a customer buys an item. Hey, Flare. Is it get medal for not bothering you? Huh. Maybe it's a customer. Oh, wait, I think I already said that, but still, let's try this. So I hover over this. Oh, wait. Is it? Oh, maybe it's them picking up an item. It might be. I'm just going to keep hovering here. Does it happen when a customer makes a purchase? I won't even know because I can't see this. 10,008. So when it goes to 10,011, which I guess we're just waiting here for that white-haired man to go over there. Okay, no, it is not that. So I think it's only when they pick up an item. Yeah, so if I return to title screen. Thanks for the resub, Leafy Girl. What a resub message. All right, here we go. So we wait for a worker to come pick this up. I think as soon as they pick it up, we're going to see the hand turn to a skeleton hand. Yep, that's what's happening. Okay, so now we need to figure out why that's happening. Pick up item. Item was picked up. Remove item. What does it do? Some breadboard. I feel like you have to say a baby bird CPU or something. Because you don't feed babies bread. Stop flashing and turn off collision. This one's fine. And this one's fine too. So it's not this. It could be remove item from the item source. Ground item source. Remove item. On stop hover item. Ah, here it is. Use normal cursor. Okay, that's the bug. Maybe you don't feed babies bread, but your name has the bird in it. On stop hover item. All we care about is the tooltip going away. So I think we don't want this to happen. Yeah. Or we could check to see, is this thing even being hovered? No, we can't, can we? Well, we could do another thing. Where else is this called? We could make an argument here like switch cursors. Yeah, I think we should do that. But then it's going to confound how we do this. Or you know what else we could do? It's just that. Done. Easy. Okay, there we go. Bug fixed. Yeah. This is pretty interesting that Cinestella even found this. We don't just call... what's that function called? On stop hover item. Because that would also change the mouse cursor even if the mouse isn't over this item. Or wasn't over this item to begin with. Alright, now I try this out. Continue game. Hopefully it has a garbage slime and one worker. Yep, nice. Okay, now we do that and then hover over here and we should not see the cursor change. Good, but if we hover over this, we should see the cursor change and the tooltip go away, which is going to take a while because the skeleton needs to come back. So let's speed it up. There. No, the cursor did not change. So this is a problem. But it's kind of a minor problem. So we need to know whether we're hovering over this. And yeah, it's rather unfortunate because we don't know that. Hey, Ursul. Did you change your name from Ursel? Probably did. And SWAT Kid, thanks for the resub. You did. Okay, gotcha. So how do we know that you're hovering over this? Well, I guess we could just keep track of it here. Yeah. This should be very easy then. And this is probably a better way of doing this. Is hovering over equals false. So we just set this here equals true. And then if is hovering over on stop hover. What is it taken? An item? What did we have before this? Stored item. And is hovering over equals false. Cool. Hide the tooltip and change the cursor back if we were hovering over. May need to hide the tooltip and change the cursor back. Okay, there we go. Lots of people complain about the phonetics. Lots of people? Have I been pronouncing your name wrong the whole time? Am I still pronouncing it wrong? How do you like it though in C#? I like it a lot. I would use it for my next game. But now the pronunciation changed, right? Instead of Ursel, it's Ursul. All right, so if I hover over this, nothing should happen. Good. And then if I speed this up and hover over this, the tooltip should go away and the cursor should change. Perfect. Okay, great. We fixed everything. Nepal V. Okay, I'll write that down. It's a little bit harder on YouTube because I can't put like personal notes there. Yeah. YouTube. All right, let's go check this in. So fix bug with hovering. I don't think I gave Cinestella a point for this, did I? Where's that browser tab? There it is. I don't know if I did. Yeah, I can't recall. All right, well, let's just give them a point. Gift Sinistello. But that's it. No more points for Sinistello from these issues because I must have given a point somewhere already. Sinistello reported this. Repro. Hover over the garbage slime. The cursor will change. Wait for a customer to pick an item off the ground. At this point, the cursor changes back to normal, even though you weren't hovering over the ground item to begin with. Cool. That's it. Very simple fix. We added a Boolean. We set and unset that Boolean, and we check the Boolean here. Very easy. Worker, not customer. Thank you. No, wait, no. It's, so I typed customer. Thank you. Dylan, thanks for subbing. Excuse me. I was about to say resubbing, but you're a new sub. Welcome. Following since 19 seconds ago. Wow. How nice. And yeah, thank you, Xylax. I do appreciate the comment. Unfortunately, Sinistello absorbed your point. Instant Loot says to use Shopping Spree, not Loot Magnet. Instant Loot. What does it say here? Casting the customer spell. So now it's the item spell. So that should fix that. Yeah, this was just a tiny mistake. I wonder if I had a problem with this on Weblate. I think I fixed it on Weblate. Which means if there's a picture, it's wrong. Where's that string? Instantloot.cs. Casting the spell will also... I'll search for this. Yeah, there's no picture. There's no explanation either. Wait. That's not right. That's because it's the wrong thing. It's this one. Always refers to loot magnet. Yeah, that's correct. And there's no screenshot. Perfect. Great. Okay, that should fix everything. Let's go try it out. New game. So all we need to do is build the enchanter and hover over this. Oh, wait, no. No, we need to do more than that. We need to go fully upgrade this and then upgrade instant loot. I still did that wrong. It's right here. Casting the loot magnet spell will instantaneously spawn a weapon, potion, armor. Yep, that's correct. While stocking frenzy is active, crops will grow faster. Is that right? Yes. And then what's this one say? Casting faux potions will cause crops to be harvested. Cool. And then the final one is this. Casting shopping spree causes instant purchase. Yeah, cool. All right. All those look good. Fix incorrect spell name. Sinistello pointed this out. Right, that's all I did is change the word customer to item. Yeah. But good. All right, this is probably an issue. Treasure opening progress. We have reposition here. And we check to see a font size. We did this in floating text, has update position. And we do this. I want to do the same thing here. So this is desired font size. Let's just comment this out. This is desired font size. Then the actual font size we need to get from remaining time label. But it's just font size. Strange that we do that. Strange indeed that we do that. How does it even work? Maybe this doesn't work and I just never looked at it. Oh, God. All right, well, anyway, in this case, we would set these things. All right, let's go try this. I don't know what we're about to witness, but I suspect it's going to be broken because I don't think font size should have been used there. I looked through all those changes that I made, though. Maybe I just didn't look correctly. No, it looks fine. The font size is changing appropriately. Oh, no, you can't scroll over this anymore. That's a problem. It's absorbing mouse input. Means you can't click it either. Wow, okay, that's another bug. The treasure opening progress absorbs mouse clicks. That means you can't zoom or pan the camera from it. I've never had that happen before, Like, I've never been tempted to do that, so I guess that wasn't really a problem. Hey, so very sour. So how is it that you can change font size here? What does it even mean? Is it a rich text label thing? No, it's just a label. What? What? Hey, Goose. Font size. Oh, there's just font size. Normal font size is for rich text label. Okay. That's fine. So then we still got to fix, well, we fixed this problem. But I got to go fix the other problem now, which is that treasure opening progress. Something here is absorbing clicks. This is set to ignore. This is set to ignore. Ignore. I bet it's going to be one of these lower ones. Because of course it's going to be the final one that I check. Here it is. This one's set to stop. We set it to ignore. And yeah, so it was this control that was messing everything up. So now both problems should be fixed. We're just speeding through this stuff. Then again, these were pretty easy problems. I forgot to save, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay, well, let's not make that mistake again. Save. Okay, so hover over this. You can now click the background and you can zoom in on this thing, and same thing over here. Nice. All right, so this one is improve performance of treasure opening progress. Like loading text.update position. This was calling add. This was modifying the theme every single frame and not just when the camera zoom changed. Hey, it's good to say this stuff, right? Fix mouse filter on treasure opening progress. It was absorbing mouse events, meaning you couldn't pan or zoom the camera while hovering over it. Whoops. Whoops indeed, past Adam. Whoops indeed. Okay, so now all this stuff's fixed. Sinistello, I can pick up items in storage that are behind the build button when adding storage. All right, so how do we test this? We click grant items. I don't think this happens anymore. No, I don't think this happens anymore. I can't drag an item from behind it. Okay, that's fine. That's fixed. All right, change thought bubbles so that it can't be resized automatically. I think what we would need is a panel container and an animation. What are we talking about here? Huh. I don't think I care about this. It has some graphics that we're not using but should be using, like coin.png. Did we end up using coin.png? Where is this located? It's in assets UI. Okay, so that means we probably are using it. Where are we using it? Base skill button and currency label. Okay, currency label makes sense. Base skill button, I don't think makes sense. Do we show it here? Okay, we do show it there. Why is that in the base? Base skill button, cost button. Because I put it in the icon? It doesn't seem... That doesn't seem smart. Isn't there like a purchase skill button as well? Why doesn't that have the cost button? Huh, that's curious. Base skill button. Wait, where's the script that this uses? .cs. Skill button base. Skill button base. Cost button. What do you use for? What? Isn't this just hidden on some buttons, like a skill button? Yeah, it's just hidden. Oh man, this doesn't seem smart. New glasses? I mean, I guess new from like 2 months ago, maybe 2.5. So like they're new-ish. Well, hi, Ayush. All right, well, this is questionable. Do we do this anywhere else? It's the max level. And what else inherits from skill button base? Meta perk button. I don't think this is worth modifying. But I don't think this was the smartest thing to do. If the base button, if not all buttons need this, the base one shouldn't have this. But it's done, so just what do I care? Did I mention the thing about a coin anywhere? Use the coin graphic everywhere. We're currently using money symbol. Okay, so update. We had some friends visiting last week, and I had one of them play Skeleseller, and he commented that he would like the coin graphic to be everywhere instead of G. This was unprompted. All right, it has some graphics that we're not using that we should probably delete, like thoughtbubble.png. Is that still in the game? Thought bubble. What was Thought Bubble? Where even is it? Here? It's Thought Bubble 2. And for whatever reason, I can't click this. Where are you? Here. Okay, that looks fine. Do we still have Thought Bubble? Do we even call it Thought Bubble? We do. Oh, we only have Thought Bubble 2 in the game. Okay, well, I don't really have a problem with that. I'm not going to rename that. Yeah, so this is all done. All right, reword empowered spellcasting to make it clear. I'm not doing this. Yeah. Let me read it now and see what it says and see if this is a problem. Every time you cast a spell, your power increases up to a maximum of 50%. Okay, I can see how this is confusing. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is every time you cast a spell, your power increases by this number up to a max of 50%. I still don't think I'm going to touch this. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to do anything about this. Now, I do have a question about this part. I've kind of struggled with this for a long time, which is figuring out how do we get it to render like this? 0%, 0.5%, 1%. And do we even want that? I'm not gonna think about this. This is dumb. Yeah. I have this written in all caps. Make sure to drop more issues. So spending even 5 minutes on figuring out percentages is probably not a good idea. It's good enough. You need to use nearest filter on panel background so the graphics are crisp. See this message. What is this message? The texture filter seems to affect the panel backgrounds. We need nearest for backgrounds to look good. Anything with text will need linear. So this is just look through the entire game and see if anything looks bad. That doesn't sound like fun. And I guess it's just panels that you can open up. So like the tooltip looks fine. Where's a dialog box? Here. Dialog box looks fine. This is probably fine, but I can't tell because the background's so dark. Are these crisp pixels? Yeah. I mean, anything else? I don't really see any issues. Like, is this a problem? Oh, this might be. Well, well, well. Game menu. What are you set to? Texture, inherit, nearest. Is there a difference? Nearest, linear. Oh, it'd be very blurry. I don't think it's very blurry. No, I think we'd notice the difference. But you know how we can test this? We can just load this through Godot and then just see the difference side by side. And I'm guessing it's going to look super blurry when I change this, which means that it's not blurry right now and I'm just finding problems where there are not problems. So I could do it on this screen, can't I? No, I can't. I have to be in the game. So we do one of these and then we just change this to be linear and it'll probably look blurry now. It didn't change at all. What? Oh my God, wait. It did change. There's that shadow, or there's not a shadow. All right, so what is it? What is it by default? It looks like there's the shadow by default, which I think is wrong. How did this happen? Something else must have set this to linear. Huh. I don't know what did that. Huh. In-game menu. What even has the in-game menu? UI? In-game menu. Texture set to linear here. Oh no. Okay, well, does that look better, first of all? I guess set this to inherit and let the in-game menu figure it out. Yeah, linear has that shadow. I don't think I want that shadow. I guess I don't really care too much, to be honest. It's unless you're looking at them side by side, you can't even really tell what the texture filter is set to. Looks like this was intentional, but it's not. This makes it look a little bit brighter. Yeah, let's do that. And then set all the stuff with text to be linear. So now if I set this to linear, does it change anything? Seemingly no. Which means we probably have the text set properly on the individual buttons. It's set to inherit. Oh, because this isn't a texture, right? This is changing the button very slightly. I didn't even realize that. Oh my goodness. There were a lot of tiny issues here, but that I don't think anyone can ever notice, so it's not really a problem. But yeah, apparently just changing this changed the buttons as well. And it's just so subtle compared to that shadow that's changing. I can't tell. Yeah, I can't tell at all. Unless something else is overriding this. Let's just favorite this thing. Now I can see it up here. Filter is set to inherit, inherit, inherit. Oh, no, that one's set to linear. That's why. Hey, ABC. Lurking. Have a good lurk. All right, so this is the problem. If we set this to inherit, we'll see the difference. And now nothing is set to override this, right? Yes. So then if I change it up here in the panel again, we'll see two changes at once. They're so subtle. Yeah, I think I see it. What's happening and what's making this really obnoxious is imagine if I had a rectangle here that was like this size and that was filled in. And then I had a tiny rectangle down here. I'm seeing the top one change. It's super obvious. But because it's changing, it's attracting my attention to that. And then I can't really see the bottom one changing very much because it's so tiny. That's what's happening with this UI. I can see the panel change, the outer one. But then the button also has like a very subtle thing, but my attention is immediately attracted to those shadows that are changing. Anyway, I think this looks better. So do we have this problem anywhere else? Like, is this an issue and I just never noticed? So I guess we save this. Now we go to, I guess we go back to UI and take a look at game settings. What is this set to? It's also set to linear. So if I set this to nearest, won't this change the scroll? Oh my God, it does. How did I not notice this? Yeah, I'll show the difference side by side so you can see. So here's linear and here's nearest. And now if you look at them, you can tell in the scroll on the side of it, like here, it's very crisp. In fact, I guess if I literally put it side by side and then we zoom in, you'll see it much more clearly. So there. Now it's very apparent what the difference is. Crisp on the left, not crisp on the right. And yes, this was a problem. And I'm glad I had a note written about this because I didn't even notice this. So he set this back to whatever, nearest, I guess, so inherit. And then we go into this thing and make sure that any buttons are set the way they should be. The scroll difference is hardly noticeable without zoom. Yeah, that's true. So do I need to change these labels at all? Does this look bad? Where is this, for example? What if I change this to linear? Okay, I think this has no impact. Although I'm not sure why. It might have an impact. Maybe I should set the font size like way bigger. Theme override font size. I want this to be gigantic so I can tell if there's a difference. Aha! Okay, there is a difference. So we need this to be set to linear. This is probably what's happening on buttons as well. And if I increase the font size on this too, I'd probably notice. So here we can see very crisp looking text. This looks like if you just open Microsoft Word and increase the text size. If I change it to nearest, it looks messed up. Well. So you can't set the text to one thing and the panel background to another thing. It's interesting. And you wouldn't notice this at a small font size. Like here it looks jagged, but if I shrink it down to what it should have been, it looks pretty much identical. I wonder, button, texture filter, to texture filter maybe? Maybe we need to put it like that. Huh. No one's written an issue about this. I guess it just doesn't matter at small sizes. Or this isn't called texture filter. Copy property path. No, it's texture filter. Sorry, your message about translating 1 and 1. Is that something we can even translate since the numbers come from a placeholder? That in particular, that's that one that I think it was Mullback who talked about. That one can be. Oh no, that was Alfred Hugenose. Yeah, you gain one right. This one can be because we have a specific string for singular. But most other cases cannot be. And I'm assuming German plurals work the same as English plurals in that it's only singular when it's 1. Plural formula is n is not equal to 1, and in German it is n is not equal to 1. Yeah, they're the same. So yeah, you could in German replace this with the word 1, and it'll give you an error and say that the C# format doesn't match because you're not using the 0 parameter. But yeah, in this one particular case, it could be fine. Maybe I should write that in my message. Update. Lammy mentioned this on stream. Excuse me. The only reason you can even use the word, you can even spell out the word 1 here is because we have singular plural forms. Let me link to this string. This won't be true. Well, actually, wait a second. We don't ever allow. Let's say this won't be true everywhere. I'd still say to just use your best judgment. Yeah, it probably doesn't really matter. I don't want people to spend a lot of time or thought on this stuff. Because even in English, it's a little bit strange. Like I think as far as writing rules go, you spell out numbers less than 10 maybe, and you write them as digits when greater than or equal to 10. I think this is generally what the rule is. So you'd say something like, I have 6 apples, but you'd say, I have 72 apples, like that. So it would look a little bit weird to say, I have 1 apple with a digit. But in a video game, I don't think that's off-putting. actually do buy, how many apples do I buy at Costco at a time? I buy like 24. So if I tripled my purchase, I would have 72. I wasn't sure if replacing a placeholder is allowed. Yeah, and allowed being in quotes is kind of interesting here because like Weblate will show a failed check, but like Skeleseller won't care. And it's exceptional what we're doing for this. So it's not like we're setting up a rule saying like, oh yeah, always avoid this. So yeah, I don't know. It really is just to use your best judgment. Also, I can't tell you how weird this looks in German. Like, is it that weird to see the digit 1, even if you normally have it spelled out? Do a lot of video games do that? See, I'm not sure. Ramey's trying to get a lot of brownie points so that he can DM me next time I say, don't DM me, people. He's transparent. All right, so yeah, this is kind of an issue, but it's kind of a minor issue. Godot button texture filter affects both text and background. I just want to see what people talk about. I already know that canvas items can only have one texture filter. But how does no one else have this problem? Huh. Hey, Irad. I just realized you're streaming. Oh yeah, no worries. Sorry, I've been ignoring your DMs. I did that 1 or 2 times, just dismissed the check. Yeah. And hey, Hideo. Huh. Also, this says texture button. I just wanted to... It doesn't really matter. All right, what do we do? What do we do in this case? If we set this to nearest, then the texture looks fine, but the font will look jagged, but it'll be so small that no one will probably notice. If we set it to linear, then the texture looks bad, but the font looks good. Well, is this noticeable at larger sizes? Like if I increase the size of this, and then I set this to linear? Or nearest? No, I don't think this is ever noticeable. So I think we should just set it to nearest anyway. Texture filter. How did I write this? Oh, I never wrote it? Huh. Generally need to set stretch mode to canvas items. However, that isn't recommended. You can't do that. Turn on that. Make sure this isn't perfect. Are you just playing the texture on the button here? Style box? I believe so. Button. Yeah, style box. Yeah. So a button itself is a canvas item. So we can't put a specific texture filter on the style box. But this is just kind of an interesting problem. In the inherited scene, you may set a labeled child that has a different texture filtering, but it's annoying. I think you're saying like instead of just having a button, make some custom component that is like a panel container with a label and then treat it as a button. I don't think we have a massive, yeah. So we could do something like this, but I don't think we have a massive problem here. So I think we're just going to fix this a different way. But I want to write this down somewhere. Canvas items only have one texture filter. I should write it like this. So I ran into this a few times. Wait, didn't I talk about this with the rich text label? I hate this. All right, buttons with custom children. I guess we need a link to that. But did I talk about this with rich text label? No. Refer to Godot UI, this link to canvas item. What else do we need to talk about? Yeah, talk about how practically using nearest is probably fine. Yeah, I ran into a problem a few times where I want multiple texture filters on a canvas item, but that's not possible without creating a custom scene. E.g., yeah. For example, suppose you have a pixel art button background, but a non-pixel art font. You would want a nearest background or a nearest filter for the background, but a linear filter for the text, which isn't possible by default. Godot canvas item. Texture filter, yeah, here. Maybe I should just call this like multiple texture filters. Every once in a while, you want a node with multiple texture filters, but that's not possible without creating a custom scene, since canvas item is the thing that exposes texture filter. For example, suppose you have a pixel art button background, but a non-pixel art font. You'd want the nearest texture filter for the background. Yeah, it's impossible by default. So this is done. So in practice, it's not usually a big issue to just set the whole button to nearest. The font will only look aliased at large sizes. It's not even, wait a second. Yeah, at large sizes where content scale factor doesn't come into account. So if I took a picture, wait, no, not even I took a picture. It's got to be upscaled, right? And no upscaling is happening. Oh God, this is so confusing. Yeah. Yeah, however, if you want to work around this, you would probably need to make a custom component. See something like this. All right, so what's our takeaway? Just use nearest for everything? So just don't touch this at all? Is there a way to find out where I modified this? Yeah, I guess so. We can search for texture, filter. No, but I want it specifically in that menu. Game settings menu. Game settings menu. Texture, filter. So we set it on a VBox container. Always use action menu, edit keybinds, save button, and undo button. So 5 places have this set. Where is this? Scroll container centered on screen, VBox panel, VBox margin. Container, VBox panel, VBox margin. Okay, so this one has, yeah, this is set to linear. So I set this to inherit. Hope we're not doing something stupid here. Where else? I can just change these in the scene file, but I want to see what these look like in the game. Always use action menu. Where's that? Here. Oh, I just manually tested this, didn't I? Yeah. Edit keybinds. This 2, you can see the fuzzy border right there. Like this is not a pixel. This is a blurry pixel. Now it's a pixel. And save button. Wait a second, what happened? I wanted to inherit this. Hey Hogan, we're working through the backlog since day 1 and have a question that I'm not sure has been re-answered. Yeah, sure. Feel free to ask. I hope you didn't watch a bunch of extra days hoping that I'd answer it instead of just asking me here live. Undo button. Wow. Okay, so now nothing is set here anymore? Yeah. Probably should check this for everything else too. Texture filter. Actually, it's specifically where I set a texture filter of 2. Isn't it? Like even this panel container and in-game menu. Where's that? In-game menu. Panel container. Set to nearest. Why though? It could just be set to nothing. Yeah. And then UI, I'm guessing the same thing. All right, so that's all I care about is searching for texture filter equals 2. How many places does that show up? 44 places. All right, for icons, it makes sense. Text label. Where is this? Dialog box? Why would this be set to 2? That doesn't seem right at all. Yeah, it doesn't seem right at all. This has the nearest filter? No. No. It is. Oh, it's set to linear. Oh, whoops. No, that's correct. Yeah, text should have it set to 2. I'm being stupid. Okay. Options container, though, that probably shouldn't be set to 2. So that means that this is showing up pixelated. I can't even tell. It is. It is. So we set this back to nearest. Nice. Look at that. Now it's not. So here was the old one. You can see the blurriness, obviously. And then the new one is here, and this should look crisp. Yeah. Look at that. Pixel, pixel, pixel. Neat. He said you chose C# because of the stricter type system and other C# language features, but also talked about downsides such as lack of web builds at the time. Yeah, wait for the rest of the message. Oh man, I'm glad we're looking through this. It's also kind of tedious that we have to look through this. So this one's fine. This is what, game credits menu? Did I solve it? Well, in this particular case, using nearest for pretty much everything is fine because these don't render at a large enough size for you to see the aliasing on the font. Like here, this button has nearest, but the text looks crisp. If we increase the text size by a lot, then it wouldn't look crisp and we'd have a problem. But since we don't have it gigantic, it's just not a problem. So for example, if I go here and how would I do this? Maybe this is a bad example. Maybe up here is a better example. Yeah. Or maybe just the in-game menu is a good example. Yeah. So if I do this and I change back to game to have like a massive font size. Font size set to 32. If I set it to like 96. So now this looks jagged. And I don't know if you can see this on stream, but if I zoom in here, it's like you can see the jaggedness. So in this case, you'd want to set it to linear, which is going to make the panel look bad, but now the text is super crisp. Now, instead of seeing jaggedness, well, I have to zoom in really far to see it, but you can see the aliasing here, the like semi-transparent pixels. So yeah, the solution is just don't use a giant font size. In fact, I'm not even sure if what I said is true. Maybe if you rendered it at 96 to begin with, it wouldn't be a problem. Let's try that. Bit weird that the rendered characters use a texture filter. Well, they are textures. It's just a little weird that you can't specify a different one. And then you need to like recreate an entire button class just to do that. Yeah, so it is just about the font size that we have set. So if I set this back to 32, where'd that go? Yeah, if I set this back to 32. Yeah, so I mean, it looks fine. All right, would you say C# is important for general OOP features? I might have missed other motivations. Oh, wait. Oh, does that decision seem less important with Godot features, such as now being able to enable strict typing at an error level in the Godot editor? So the way I've always kind of said this is... Oh my God. It's so hard to copy messages on YouTube. What is going on? Okay. Yeah, and look at how they copy. Oh, man. All right. Well, let's try to clean this up a little bit so I can see. There. All right. Let's just delete all those other things. Yeah. So my like general succinct take is if you're new to this stuff, use GDScript. I think it's a good default. And it's gotten better with time. And will probably continue to get better. I would say if you're used to C# already, just use C# from the get-go. And yeah, if you want something more out of your project that GDScript doesn't provide, then weigh the options. And in this case, I don't think there's too much... Well, okay. I haven't made a full game in GDScript. Like, I've used C# for anything longer than like a 3-week long project. The last thing I did in GDScript was Idle Ascendance, and its code is somewhere on GitHub. Here, yeah. And it's not a ton. Does GitHub tell you how many lines it is? No, it just says 100%. All right, well, anyway, we had 43 files. I guess that tells you a little bit. So, like, have I made a fully fledged game in GDScript? No. I mean, this game works. But yeah, so, like, would object-oriented programming help more in C#? I think it depends. Like, I don't think GDScript has a concept of an interface. I don't remember exactly. But it definitely has a concept of, like, class name. And there is inheritance because that's baked into Godot itself. So in the end, I think it basically boils down to like what works for your project, what are you accustomed to, and how much are you going to struggle with the language. So if it were GDScript in, let's say, like 2017, I think it would have been too much of a struggle. I don't know if C# was even possible back then, but yeah, probably would have been better to use a different language. Whereas now, GDScript seems pretty good. Yeah, there's strong typing on a bunch of things. They even added it for dictionary. So... No, don't worry about it, Hogan. Yeah. I think at the beginning, C# was an obvious choice. I still think so. I was wondering if the decision would have changed with all the new GDScript and Godot features. So I guess full disclosure here, I haven't paid too much attention to how GDScript has evolved other than when I mention it on stream like right now. And then someone says, oh, by the way, that's been fixed. So like I'm not staying up to date outside of the stream. So it's possible that it's gotten like worlds better and it's just great to use. But I do think, like I said, my succinct thing is if you're new, just use GDScript. So if someone were like, hey, I'm getting into game dev, I definitely wouldn't be like, okay, start learning C# immediately. I think GDScript is pretty friendly and nice. And you probably won't even hit performance issues for a lot of the stuff you do. And if you do hit performance issues, then write that section in a different language, I guess. Definitely odd. 10xing the button resolution would be an okay hack as well. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it is a bit strange. You need to make a custom. Yeah, probably need to. You would need to make a custom component. Okay. All right. So what was I doing? Still looking through all these texture filter things. And we left off with a game credits menu. So return to title and credits. And what are we looking at? A VBox container in here. Game credits menu. Where's the VBox container? Here? Linear, yeah. Okay, this is all text though. So this is fine except for the close button. Although I don't, do you need to even, if I set this to nearest, what happens here? Yeah, I guess it does look bad. I guess if you know something's going to be a label that you want it to have linear. But we could just set this on the grid component then. Even this is probably a mistake. Isn't this texture probably wrong? Yeah. Well, wait, no, this isn't pixel art. I'm not sure what's going to look better. Let's try. Let's change this to nearest. It does look, well, no, now the coins look worse. I think linear is actually the right choice for this. You can see well, maybe you can't see. The logo gets a little bit better looking at nearest. But when I set it to linear, the coins look better. So I think linear overall is actually correct here. Yeah. And I'll write that in here. This is intentionally set to a linear texture filter. It just happens to look better given the size that this renders at. Okay. Hey, Toulouse. You know Valazar? Language encoding for what languages? Strong in front end, back end, both. Yeah, I've got a bunch of commands for this stuff, except for the final one. Strong in front end, back end, or both. I'd say less front end stuff. I'm just not a very like visually inclined person. At least not when it comes to coding stuff. And it's not that I haven't done front end stuff before, but like I don't have the design skills. So I pretty much need someone else to design it. And then it's not usually too bad for me to implement it. But I also don't really find it all that fun to do. So yeah, I tend to prefer more back end stuff. All right, so yeah, we got to clean up this scene a little bit. This cleanup isn't hard to do. It's just a little time consuming. So this is set to linear for all the text. Then the button, I guess we'd specifically set to nearest because of the panel. Oh, and then the panel itself needs to be set to nearest. Oh, that's already set. Okay, so let's save that. And now we have a big comment there. Let's go back to the search results. Where did we leave off? Okay, so I think this is all done. What else is set to do? The logo, yeah, which is a little weird. All right, now what about this stuff? Keybinds menu. Something here is set to linear. Scroll container, margin container. A margin container is this one. No, it's not this one. There must be another margin container, right? Oh, no, that's a parent, so it's the VBox container. This is set to linear. Yeah, that's probably fine. And then in this one, we just set this to nearest. So the textures look good. Wait, why don't they look good? What's going on with that? Are these manually set? They're manually set? Let's someone inherit. Is the scroll crisp? I think so. Inherit, 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 inherit. Yes, it is. Are you open for work? Full-time for 3 to 6 months? Can you go privately? No, I'm not. Yeah. Out of curiosity, are you going from stream to stream asking about hiring people? I guess that's certainly a recruitment method. All right, anything else that we did here? HBox container and VBox container. I think this is good, except for that. Why is this? Oh, that's one. No, I'll just, okay, gotcha. Okay. I mean, it's your prerogative to do that, even if that's what you were doing. And it's the streamer's prerogative to push back, I guess, if they want to. So text contents is a rich text label. This is fine. In fact, why do we... Wait, won't click to dismiss be a problem? I don't know where click to dismiss even shows. Notification box. No, it must be inside of here. Yeah, must be part of the text. Okay, that's fine. All right, title screen. The icon has a texture filter too. That's strange. Oh, it's not pixel art. Because it's the Discord logo there, right? This one. So if I set this to... Where are you button? Oh, the icon does have linear. Really? I guess so. Yeah, I guess it looks stupid. Okay, fine. So I just don't want to save this. Are you open for consulting hours? No, sorry. I'm doing like, yeah, I've got a job command here. This basically encompasses all of my work time. Even though streaming isn't full time, like I stream for about like 24 hours per week, although it's going to drop with having to market more in the next probably month or so. But yeah, that is not the entirety of my work week. I then also work off stream a bit on code or administrative tasks or translation wrangling or whatever, anything like that. All right, this is fine. Yeah, this is fine. Anything that's label is already okay. Yeah, that's a label, label, label. Oops, probably shouldn't have clicked that. Whoops. Yeah, label. That's fine. That's fine. Yep. Okay, so we only had some peculiarities here. But in general, this is looking pretty good. What is this? Town menu. The whole texture filter, the whole thing has a texture filter of 2? Because of the buttons? Yeah. Yeah. Well, this can be linear. Although the whole challenge mode details can be set to linear, right? If these are labels, we should just set it on the labels. I guess I'll set it here. Which means we can probably get rid of this. These buttons would look slightly different. You can see they've got fuzzy borders. Actually, that might not even be a texture. That might be a drawn-in border from Godot. But if I change it to nearest, does that get crisp? No, it doesn't. So I don't think this really matters. I think everything here can be set to linear. I think these are the only questionable ones. And this is a custom component, so it's fine. Okay, great. Did I change anything? I did, but what? No, I changed it in challenge mode objective details. There we go. Okay, sounds good. Let's go back to search results. We only have a few more of these to go through. 19, that's not too bad. Especially because if any of them are labels, I can just immediately get rid of them. Available buildings menu. This one is entirely text, right? Yeah, this one can be set to what it's currently set to. Yep, that's fine. Okay, contextual tip. Texture filter of 2, that's fine. Currency label, that's okay. Label. Icon inside of the instance slot toolbar. These icons are set to linear. It's probably okay. I mean, for minus and plus, it doesn't make a difference because they're boxy to begin with. But for the other ones, it was an arrow and an X. Yeah, this is fine. Why are there 5 of these, though? What am I missing? There aren't 5 icons. There must be another icon that conditionally shows. This one's minus. This one's plus. This one is an arrow. Why are there 2 of those? Oh, dock and undock. Right. When you click this, it turns into a down arrow. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Label, that's okay. Item action menu button. What are you? Okay, that's fine. All right, keep going. Base skill button. The icon has like texture or a filter of 2. Guess because they're not pixel art. Same thing there. Debug menu I don't care about. Player ability tree and this. Yep, nice. Okay, everything else is fine. So let's check this in. These are some minor changes. Yeah. All I did is change texture filter. Modify texture filters. Okay, so I did a pass over the whole game. Wait, it's not even technically true, right? There might still be something that doesn't look good. Because I only search for where we defined it. If we ever don't define it, it's going to inherit it, and then it would be nearest. So if there's any label that doesn't explicitly override this, or its parent doesn't, then its text could look bad at a large enough font. So something like challenge mode start screen, this one. Yeah, this is just set to inherit. Isn't this technically problematic then? Like, shouldn't I set this to linear? Wow, looks a lot better. Okay. Oh, I don't like this at all. I don't want to have to do this in the whole project. I know you can set a default, but then it applies to all sprites as well. Okay, well then let's just take a look over the more text heavy ones of these. Where's the upgrade points thing? Where is that? Here. Perk points label, this is its own thing. The label should have linear. Tooltip. I probably don't care. This is at the nearest, yeah. All right, and then scenario title. Where are you? Best time label, linear. Difficulty level label, linear. This will look just slightly crisper. Yeah. Yeah. So how many of these do I want to go through? Challenge end screen. I mean, this is probably good. In fact, this you can tell looks bad here. How did I not notice this? Is this bad in the game? First of all, let's set this back to a normal size. And even that menu should hopefully be back to normal. All right, let's hit this over here and then just click that button a couple times. Business succeeded. Yeah, I think this looks bad. So this is with it set to linear. I'm going to paste it over here. Then we're going to set it to, or sorry, set to nearest. This is with it set to linear. Now it looks super crisp. And then we're going to take a picture and put it side by side. And it's going to look amazing. I don't know how to not have this thing suck. Whoops. Whoops, what am I doing? I wanted to resize the canvas. All right, so set this to 500. Resize. That was not supposed to go there. But yeah, you can see the difference already, right? Like jagged on the bottom, smooth on top. Alfred Huge Nose, thanks for the resub. Thanks for helping with the translations. I still always feel like this is backwards. You're giving me money to help translate the game. I really appreciate it though. Both things. All right, I am glad we looked through that too. So what, all this grid container is also wrong? Like we should set this to linear as well? Wow, look at that. Oh boy. All right. Yeah. Very glad we're doing this. These are like the imperceptible things where people be like, wow, the fonts really look crisp in this game. Because I'm not rendering them stupidly now. So where else? How do we even find other like text heavy sections? I guess just look through the game, right? Why is this still gigantic? Oh, because I never restarted this. Still worth the 46 plus months of edutainment. Well, I'm glad you appreciate it. I have appreciated the journey. All right, title screen. This one is a little bit difficult because I guess we want a linear background on this. Where do we set these up? Story mode button. Okay, this is set to inherit. If I set it to linear, how does it look? Okay, so I mean, the text definitely looks better. The graphic doesn't really look any different. What is this thing? Story mode button? Button with sounds? Yeah, I can't really see a difference in the texture. Like now I can. Now that I'm zoomed into like 1500%, I can see the wavy lines get clearer, but if I'm zoomed out, is there any real difference? Because if so, I think we should just use a linear for this. Yeah, I don't see a difference. I'll use a linear. Bone mode translations may not fit that in that button. Oh no, that's fine. This can be pretty large. Like if we change it to French, which is probably the largest one so far, like the button just expands. That's okay. The translation for the expansion of this is it only goes in there in that brown text that you see, and that can also be as long as it needs to be because this dialogue is pretty resilient to text size changes. The only thing I think in the entire game, at least that I can think of, that has a size restriction on a name is this. Whoops. These. And don't worry about whatever size you make them, because like let's say we switch into French here. Spirit Caller, you can see, just uses a smaller font. It's not Oh, wait. That's not French. We need to save and reload. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so you can see it's a little bit hard to read compared to like mage, for example, just because of how long this word is. And mage is 4 letters, so we can fit it bigger. But yeah, like I said, I don't think you need to really do anything to come up with something special for this. Plus, I doubt the word for whatever any of these are going to be is going to be like 50 letters or something, right? The worst, quote unquote worst, is German for this, and it is witch doctor, I think. No, not that one. Spirit caller. No, what? There's some really long word that was used for, I don't remember what it was. Witch doctor. Spirit. Ah, here. No, wait. No, what was it? I thought there was some super long word. Now I can't remember what it was. Yeah. Anyway, even that would probably fit. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. If we need a font size of like 2, then there's a problem. Then we'll have to shorten it somehow. Anyway, okay, so go back to English so I can tell what's going on here. And then go back to the main screen. So we've fixed those. Settings, I think we looked at. But I think I kind of cut a corner there. Like the whole panel should probably be set to linear. As in all of this, I think should be linear for the sake of the text. And then I just changed the specific buttons to be nearest. Yeah, these buttons don't matter. These do. Nearest. Okay. Hey, kitty cat. Welcome in. All right, it's a new game. So let's just look. Are there any other text-heavy things that show up? I guess it doesn't need to be text-heavy for it to look bad. It could also just have a big font. Like, is that a problem right there? I don't know. But even the word adventurers or battle party. Battle panel tab. All right, so where are you? Where are you indeed? Instance map is over there. Party chooser, here it is. Label linear. Oh, nice. Okay, that's already done. I don't think there's a problem in any of these things. Tooltips should already be set correctly. Make stuff smooth. And nearest. What does nearest do? Nearest neighbor is like the pixel art filter that you see. So let's say we open up this, for example. As I zoom in, do you see how each individual pixel is still an individual pixel? Like you can distinguish, oh, this blue one from this blue one from whatever else. That's what nearest neighbor does. So like the zooming that you see here is pretty much going to be nearest neighbor. Whereas if we did linear, it'd do some smoothing as you zoom in. And for pixel art, that would look bad because it's pixel art where you want to see the individual pixels. It kind of means that with pixel art, you can get infinite zooming and still have it look good because it's intentionally blocky. All right, so I was going to go look at this now. Adventure panel tab. And it's everything in here. And we can just set this whole thing to linear. We'll see it change, but it's gonna be hard to read because this is not themed correctly. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, sure thing, okay. Then there's a level up button. The level up button would technically need to be set to nearest, which it already is. Any other thing in stats, guild supplies, I guess. The label is linear. The progress is linear. Hey, Lamdak. First time viewer, loving your stream so far, very relaxing. Also, your FAQ and commands amazing. Definitely stealing that idea. Yeah, thank you, first of all. I think that there's only so much I can answer the same question every single time. And when I first started streaming, it was 2015. And I was working on a game called Botland. And I don't know, maybe like 20 times per day at its worst, people would say like, what are you working on? And I didn't even necessarily mind answering, but the viewers who'd been here for a while, they got bothered. And they're like, Adam, can you not answer every single time and like, sidetrack what you're doing? So I'm like, okay, let's work on that. So yeah, one thing I do is I always try to keep the today command up to date so people will always know what it is I'm working on at any given moment. And then yeah, for new people, I tend to just steer them toward the Steam page now, unless it's been a long time since I've talked about the game. So if you have not seen Skeleseller, go to the Steam page. This is to everybody, not just LimeText. All right, what else? Through this very tedious process of fixing every single piece of text in the game. Hire adventurer. I'm hoping this stuff is already fine. Are these crisp? They should be because they're part of a dialogue, yeah. And the portrait. Yep. Hey, Sinistella. Hey, I gave you a point earlier today. Thank you for reporting that issue. By the way, if you're curious what that issue was, when you were hovering over this and it had a glove and then it turned into a skeletal hand, is when a worker picked up an item off the ground. So what would happen is, let's say you were hovering over an item and they took it, it needed to change the cursor and hide the tooltip, which is what you just saw happen there. So when you're hovering over something else, it would hide the tooltip and change the cursor, even though you're not hovering over that thing. So now it's fixed. Never had to deal with projects that required nearest filters. I've heard there's a global texture filter. I'm wondering if that affects the text nodes as well. Yeah, so the global filter does affect every single node. And I set it to nearest because it's a pixel art game, and that way for sprites, we don't forget. But I think it's probably best to set it to linear unless you use a pixel art font. And in fact, maybe I should write that in my notes. Yeah, I probably should. That this was maybe a mistake. Texture, default texture filter. Yeah, here, copy property path. So there is a global texture filter that you can set via this. I highly recommend setting it to whatever your... Actually, do I recommend setting this? I don't know what you should set this to. If you use a pixel art font, if you use pixel art for everything, including the font, you should almost certainly set this to nearest. If you use no pixel art, you should set it to linear. If you mix art styles or have a non-pixel art font, but pixel art graphics, then be ready to override the default all over the place anyway. Yeah. Hey, what? It's going pretty well. We're making some kind of slow progress through this stuff. It is progress at least. All right, is there anywhere else? This, for example, this looks crisp, so I probably already did this here. But what is this? Perks panel tab? Perks panel tab. Title, where is that? Title label. It is not set to linear. The whole root is, though. Okay, that's probably fine. Oh, no, it's not because of that graphic, right? That horizontal rule looks bad now, doesn't it? This? What is this set to? Set to inherit. So I set it to nearest. Well, look at that. Just got a lot crisper. I didn't even notice these problems. Man. And like, as a player, you might not notice it either because you might just say, oh, that was a stylistic choice to put these like jagged pixels here. But it wasn't. And now it's fixed. I would still use linear filtering on text anyway, unless I have pixel perfect font size. Yeah, some of the pixel art fonts do have that though. Like you'll get it in a couple different font sizes, or you'll manually like export. Yeah. If you can set filtering per texture, does that mean Godot is not batching all those textures into one atlas and thus having a draw call per each? So you're setting it for a canvas item. I assume that it's still binding a texture once and rendering everything with that texture. Although, I mean, who knows what's going on under the hood without looking at their code. But yeah, the texture filter could be done through some other layer here. I'm not sure what exactly, maybe a shader. But yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's a built-in graphics like primitive. done during the rendering pass on the Atlas. Yeah. All right. So is that one good? Now I got to look through every single horizontal rule we have in the game. It shouldn't be that hard to find though. What was the scene that just had it? Perks panel tab? Perks panel tab. Oh no, it wasn't that. It was town perks panel. I don't know what it's called. Player ability tree. All right, there we go. Now we find the HR, horizontal rule, whatever. Just search for .png. It doesn't show up. H separator, because it's got a style box. Yeah. Man. All right, so skill tree theme must have it. Skill tree theme.tres. Is there an H separator here? Yep, there it is. Separator.png. Okay. So could the theme set this? Skill tree theme. I don't think so, because if we're a canvas item. Yeah, we can't. Wish I knew better in general. Yeah, and it is nice that this is open source, so you could look into that if you want, but it's a lot to piece together through the source code. All right, so it's anywhere that we use an H separator. So I guess we just have to search for this. Oh, they're only, what, 5 files or something? 7 files? Game settings menu. Game settings menu has it. I don't think they're visible there. Oh, maybe these. I don't know if that counts. If it does count, then that's already fine. Okay, so then we can ignore that. Party member base. Is it invisible here? Style box empty. Yep. Okay, so we can ignore that. Adventurer panel tab. Adventurer panel tab. Where are you? Right there. And what are you set to? The wrong one, I think. Oh, yeah. So I think that's wrong. And now we click this and set it to nearest. I don't see any difference. No, I do see a difference. Yeah, nice. Looks better. There's another. No, there's not another one. Skill tree theme we can't do anything about. Challenge mode end screen, and that's it. So challenge mode end screen. Where are you? Oh, it's also invisible. Yes. Okay. I mean, in the same vein, let's just, what else do we even have to look at? I think it's pretty much just challenge mode at this point. None of these have any new text, right? Yeah. Oh, maybe this screen. Wait, how did I not find this? Where's this? It's right there. It's already set to nearest. Why didn't this take effect? What you doing? That's blurry. Maybe I just have to restart this? Although, I'm not sure why that was the case. Yeah, now it's crisp. Okay. All right. Yeah, great. All right, so start scenario. What shows up over here? What do we need to do something about? There's notification box. This has linear already. That's fine. Anything else here? It would be stuff in this, maybe. Town perks. Perk choice UI. Anything special here? This is at the nearest. Wow. Really? This is like actively wrong. I'm not sure why that's the case. Huh. Yeah, strange. Okay, well, this will start looking a little bit better in the game when we change this. So this text, which is actually pretty big, and you can kind of see how it's jagged, although I'll zoom in and show it. So here's the, whoops, let's put this in here. So here's the jagged version of this. And now we set this to linear. And we show the non-jagged version of this. Can you tell what the difference is? There are slight differences, but this one's not very obvious. This is why I said that unless your font size is gigantic, it's not really going to be apparent. Like even zooming in, I can see some pixel differences here. Like under the P here, this is just a solid horizontal line, like perfect edge. Whereas over here, there are 3 other pixels down here. Anyway, the one on the right should look better. It's probably imperceptible. So, yeah, let's just do this anyway. Linear. Okay, there, that's done. So now all those look nice. And that should be how all of these render, right? No, that's not how all of these render. Battle perk choice UI. Description. Oh, is this set? No. Description, linear. And that's it. Okay. And then build. Build perk choice. What is this called? What? What is this? Allows you to catch fish. Pond description. That comes from here. Get building name and description. Building perk choice. There's got to be a UI for this. Trying the game right now, thinking that automatically repeating battles would be neat. 5 seconds later, I get a pop-up instructing me to build the town hall and unlock it. Does this game implement mind reading? I've watched a lot of people go through the beginning of the game. And yeah, they will typically comment maybe about a minute before they unlock auto battling that, hey, it'd be nice to have auto battling. And I think that's okay that there's some delay there. But yeah, I've witnessed many people play, and I've tried to fix all the little issues they run into. All right, I can't totally figure out where this thing is, and I don't know why I can't figure it out. There's town, battle, adventurer. Where's building? Huh. Must be this? It must be this, yeah. Okay, well, whatever. It's done now. All right, and then the last one is adventure. Choice UI. So this one I did, right? No, I did not do this. No, I did this, yeah. Choice UI, adventure, and then perk choice with adventure. So linear, and then perk with adventure, linear. Okay. And I think that's everything. Yeah, I think it's everything. Unless all perks is special somehow. What is all perks? All perks tree, what are you? Player ability tree with town, which is a player ability tree. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, well, if anything is wrong, I mean, I guess we could always just see it. Although I'm never going to pay attention. So I never will see it, but we could. And isn't that all that matters in the end? That you're able to do things. And that you don't take any of those opportunities. All right, did it pass over the whole game? I changed button textures to nearest so that their backgrounds would look good. The text won't look as good, but almost every button in the game uses a font size where it's imperceptibly different. For text, I tried to set it to linear everywhere. I may have missed some cases, but due to the font size, it shouldn't matter. What was most surprising to me were the cases where I did miss this, e.g. the absolutely gigantic, was it business succeeded? Message that was using a nearest filter and looked jagged. All right, I'm going to skim through this super fast just to make sure that the only thing we touched were texture filters and trust that I just reviewed it visually. Because I'm not going to go through every single one of these again. This is unusual. Oh, this is because, oh no. Battle perk choice UI. This inherits from something. Battle perk choice UI. I think we just need to save it again. Yeah, now it's gone. Wow, I'm glad I caught that. I probably missed 1 or 2 other ones, but whatever. Caught one of them. Yeah, like this. Town perk choice UI. This one doesn't inherit for anything though, right? Town perk choice UI. No, it does. Okay. Well, that fixes that too then. So then any other perk choice UI ones where there's a problem? This we changed the title. I guess because the title doesn't exist in the root scene. Yeah. At a certain point, does note taking stop being about rereading and become more about offloading thoughts and reducing mental load? Yeah, I think so. I think for something like a to-do list, I add items because I'll forget otherwise. Like today, there's something really important I have to do, which actually, if I recall, oh yeah, I have to make ice cream. I promised. Kevin's coming over on Thursday, and I promised I'd make ice cream. We're gonna watch Lord of the Rings. Anyway, I would forget that otherwise probably. And like, so thankfully I added that to my to-do list. Other notes are notes that are for learning, let's say. And just by writing them, I think it reinforces what you're learning. And then finally, there are the notes where you plan to consult them later, but for some like other reason, not necessarily learning. So like troubleshooting, for example. There are lots of issues I've run into over the years, and I try to have a troubleshooting section at the bottom of practically every note now. So yeah, here. Like input events being hit multiple times, graphical tearing or glitching. I know I'm probably going to see this again, and I will probably have forgotten the cause. And now I could just look through this and be like, yep, there it is. That's how I fix it. Cool, done. How clean do you keep your commits for game dev? I find almost impossible to not touch something else while fixing a single issue. I try to just keep things separate. In this case, it was pretty easy because it was all one thing. Every once in a while, let me show you my workflow for this. Every once in a while, I will change multiple things. So let's just go to some random file, adventurer.cs. Or, whoops, I didn't mean to go to that. It should be a file with actual code. Okay, so let's say I change something here, and I'm like private bool fix issue 1. And then down here, I have like unrelated new function. Okay, so now I go to commit, and I'm like, oh, this is unrelated to this down here. So what I do is I just select this and go to stage selected range. And now I have commit number 1, which is the one thing. And I would commit this. And then for the next thing, I would do, well, it would only be one change at that point. Also, you could just click the plus button here. And that way you can sort things by like what features did you do. This is only possible if the two things aren't interrelated. Otherwise, you'll have a build error in your commit, which maybe you're fine with. But I don't think it's super important, especially for solo dev projects. Commit history, I think, should have your like why you did something, and ideally it would link to an issue with all the context there to make it easily searchable. But other than that, it doesn't matter too much. Like if you have 2,000 commits in a project, what are the odds you're going to want to go back to like 1,500 and see what your project looked like? Every once in a while you have a need for that. Maybe you're searching through a bug or something you're trying to fix, or maybe you're trying to get like, you're making a before and after picture for your game. Hey TJ, happy Monday. All right, so this took a long time. Next up, consider for the sake of clarity that perhaps customers shouldn't be able to tip early on in the game. Both rare customers and customers who desire an item will tip, but it's been a bit confusing for players. If it were something that you had to unlock, it might be better. Then again, maybe this is just something the compendium solves. There's no compendium anymore. One of the historical reasons why early tipping was that the garbage slime only ever offered 1 gold per item. What? I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all. I mean, I like tipping in the game. I think it's nice. Plus, we already coded it all. So I don't think we're going to delete tipping as a solution. I do wonder if we, like, so, you know, potential problem, tipping may be a bit confusing for players. And like option 1 is just leave it. People will get extra money and eventually stop questioning it. Option 2 is make it an explicit perk that you have to unlock. Like customers can now tip when they desire an item. This is kind of punishing before that's unlocked, and it may not be worth unlocking. I think we're just going to go with option 1, by the way. And yeah, option 3 is like explain it in some other way, e.g. a tip or something like that. I think I'm just going to go with option 1. Maybe I missed it. Who provided the original German translation? Most of the translations are simply unchecking needs editing because they're already pretty decent. Those were LLM created. So LLM, I did 100% of each language. And then, yeah, I'm glad to hear that they're already pretty good. And I think, and I'm not saying this to guilt you or anything, I think I wrote that in here. If I did not, I should write that in there. I did not. Yeah. So you did not miss it anywhere. If nothing has been, well, where's the needs editing thing? Note, I seeded all languages with LLM translations at first. Make the shopkeeper less rude and more social to get better tips. Yeah, I think we're just not going to do anything about this one, though. I think this is one of those things where there are a couple reasons why a player might want to understand a benefit. So if there's a penalty in the game, I think you should clarify these. If there's a benefit, I still think you should. But it's less important. And the reason why I think you still should is because some players want to maximize these benefits. And if, let's say, tipping was like an obscure rule, like every 5th potion you sell will get a tip, or every green item gives you a tip or something like that. It's like, oh, if you know that, you might seek out green items, or you might try to get way more potions so you can get more tips. Tipping in Skeleseller does have weird rules, by the way. Tipping is Adam will always tip, but players don't know that the character is me. So, yeah. They're just like, oh, the guy with glasses tips in the game. And then customers who desire an item will tip. And that's it. Those are the only 2 tipping rules. But this one's the confusing one, I think. And it makes me wonder if I should just pay more without tipping and people just won't notice. They probably will notice. Is my character in the game? No, not right now. Speed it up. I'll wait for like 10 seconds if it doesn't show up. All right, well, here's my character. I look like that in the game. It's the only character with glasses, which is kind of funny, like medieval fantasy setting. Also, I'm pretty sure I know what outfit Quickie Joe drew. Like, I'm probably wearing jeans, and I was probably wearing like a blue button-down shirt. And that's not communicated through just this tiny pixel art, right? Like, it doesn't look too different from just what this character is wearing, probably. They could be wearing jeans. You just wouldn't expect them to be because of the setting and seeing other people in cloaks and stuff. Hey, very, and thanks. Yeah, I can't take credit for it. Dodge a good old, it's already documented moment here. Yes, you did. All right, so yeah, I don't think we're going to do anything about this. All right, I think that if you drag the camera by clicking a clickable location, then it shouldn't spawn the NPC's dialogue. I think we fixed this. Yeah, we did fix this. Polish. We should probably change an NPC's clickable area based on the camera zoom. That way you're not super zoomed in and can still click 40 pixels away. Is that the case still? I don't really care about this. Yeah, you can click over here. It's not 40 pixels away. Well, actually, it is 40 pixels away because I'm zoomed in. I was going to say it's still like 8 pixels, but it's the whole point of the zooming thing. I think this is fine. Yeah, I don't think it's worth fixing. Again, these are, at this point, we're not trying to fix issues like this where someone's going to be like, oh my God, why did I click the NPC right there? That's not going to confuse people. So, and if it does confuse them, it's not going to be like a consistent problem. They'll eventually just be like, okay, I guess I shouldn't click this particular point, but there's no other reason to click this point. So yeah, I don't care about that. The resemblance is uncanny. It should be uncanny. Here are all the other Adam walk emotes. No one uses these. I just added them because I had them, but I might delete them at some point from Twitch if we need more animated emotes. Those would probably be one of the first ones to go. Plus, we don't need 4 directions of them. I think 1 would be fine. Probably right or left or down. The up one isn't really needed. A worker's hands can appear through the shop roof. Is this still an issue? How do we even do this? We do that and then this. And then, oh, I'm in challenge mode. Did they walk through? I think we just made them not walk behind this thing. Yeah, they're never walking there. All right, I'll speed this up. And I'll add a bunch of customers. There. All right, so they ever walk behind the shop. The flood of customers will be reaching here soon. Yeah. No, they don't seem to. Is there a sprite or something similar for flimsy fish to find a fitting translation? Asking on stream is fine. I don't mind. Let me see. Here's what it looks like when it's unlocked. I don't think I can show what it looks like before that. No, I could. Wait, no, I could just show the... I could just show the SVG, right? Game, assets, icons, flimsy fish here. Yeah. Open with Affinity. All right, I'll just zoom out a bit and take a picture of this. Yeah, it's good enough. I don't need to trim the edges. Weblate, flimsy fish. You want this for the ability name? Because I was going to say, it might be good. I don't know if you already know about this, but if you click nearby strings, the next string is the description, and that might be more helpful than knowing a picture for this. So if that helps, then that's the flow you'd probably use for most of these. But yeah, I'll add the screenshot. Export temp flimsy fish. Choose file. Hey, Sarah. Has it been suggested to be able to swap an item? Yes. Yeah. That is something I still want to do at some point. Where is it? Yeah. People have been asking about this for a long time now. I'll explore the Discord game feedback. No, you don't need to do that. I want to make it as easy as possible for people to be able to submit issues. So you can just type them here. And if I'm like, oh, I need a screenshot or a video, then Discord might be good. But like, you don't need to do the legwork for that. Alfred's doing part of the German translation. So we actually got 4 volunteers for German. Then I know it's definitely not in the sense of rotten. No. Wait, so just to be clear, you're saying the nearby strings helped or the picture helped? Because the nearby strings I expect will help quite a lot in other cases. Both. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad I uploaded that. But yeah, the nearby strings thing is really important. And I do have this in the document. So I'll link the translation document here if you need it. But there's a setting in Weblate. I'm not going to go to it now, actually, because I don't know if it's going to show something else that's private. Where's the thing? But you can change how many nearby strings show up. Yeah, if you click this link and then just set it to like 5. Because otherwise this page gets really long, the nearby strings, and it's hard to figure out where you are in the file. By the way, I'm curious. Let's take a look at how the wish listing has changed even just since I've started streaming. Because like I said, we've been getting like quite the boost lately. Yeah, we're up to 53 more wish lists today. That's pretty good. And then 2 people are playing the game right now, and 39 people have claimed it today. I'd like to see a graph of this. I think you can only see the charts or the tables. Yeah, I'd like to see a graph. Also, a lot of people are wishlisting the game from Germany. It makes me wonder, should I localize the Steam page soon? I read through this again pretty recently, and I actually think the Steam page text is really good. And I don't even think we really need to change much here. Even the graphics that we have. Yeah, I like this. So I wonder if we should just like make this be in other languages like German and French and see if that boosts traffic as well. Because these people who are wishlisting the game, I don't think there's any indication to them that the game's going to be in German. Like, I don't think they know that. They're still wishlisting it. So I wonder if this would increase if they were like, oh, yeah, there is a German version coming out. But yeah, the same can't be said of all of these languages or all these countries. Like, I'm not going to do Dutch. So yeah, I don't think this is really an issue. I'm just going to delete this. Consider switching to records. This we're not doing at this point for sure. But I do kind of want to write this down. Do I have this in my C# notes? China, generally the Asian market is also huge. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to have translations for Chinese, Japanese, and Korean at launch. So those I'll probably need to hire people for. And I looked this up a while ago, what the cost is per word, and it's like 15 cents per word. And we have 10,000 words. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't need to do this, but yeah, it'd be about $1,500. And that's per language. So really $4,500. And that's why I didn't want to do it ahead of time. Like, let's say a Scala seller sells like $1,000 worth of copies. Like, it's obviously not worth translating for another language unless you somehow knew you were going to be making that money back. But there's no guarantee of that. Can't you learn Mandarin in a couple weeks? Yes. I'll learn the whole thing. Just cram it into my head. What's wrong with just using LLMs? There are a lot of little things that are wrong with it. And as a simple example, I had a translation that said hired the Zero. And then Zero would get replaced with Rogue, Mage, Warrior, so on and so forth. Even for just French, this breaks down. Because you need to say hired and then like le or la. And then this would be in French, of course. And then the name of the thing here. So like already you can't just use an LLM to translate this because it's not going to know what this thing is. And you can't even translate this in any way because you need to fix the source string in this case. So same thing for anything else where it's like, okay, it doesn't know what these parameters are, or it doesn't know the full context of the game. It's not just genders too, it's also pluralization. It's a bunch of other things. With that said, I did use an LLM to translate this stuff. So if we go look at, for example, Korean, like I have translations for every single string in the game. I just don't know if they're good. Like this has increased the duration of this, but I can't read Korean. So we go to translate and we type this in and detect and go to English. And yeah, it seems like it's translating the same thing, but is this what a Korean person would say for a video game? Is it what a native player would, or a native speaker would say? Wonder if it would make a difference. It'd be an interesting experience in a way. I think a lot of German people are pretty good at English. Maybe a small percentage would be inclined to buy it if they see it's in German. The Steam page doesn't state that there's a version available, but since we are going to have a German version, I think it makes sense to localize the Steam page as well. The one thing I am going to draw the line at is I don't think we're ever going to localize a trailer. So the trailer has like 12 words in it. Start a town, hire adventurers to battle. I think we're just going to leave those in English. Maybe we do something different if there was like a China specific recommendation by a localizer or something. I don't know, but I don't know about taking the time to do that, generate like 10 different trailers. Hey, Packer. Need a translator to check the output of LLMs anyways. Yeah. So that's the flow we have right now. We have LLMs being fed into human reviewers. And in a lot of cases, they're like, yep, looks good. And they just check a box, basically. So, and then there are some much harder ones. Maybe worth trying just for the Steam page. But yeah, then people would expect the game to be localized. Yeah. Hey, Callian. Would you recommend learning Python or JavaScript? Plan to do tests on Discord bots, etc. to start? I don't think it matters too much of the two, but so I'll link you this, which is my general advice for learning programming. And it basically boils down to, if you're just learning coding, I don't think it really matters what you pick. But of those two, I'd probably pick Python. And the one thing I would say here is, and this won't make a lot of sense if you're not used to programming anything, but static typing is important. So as a simple example, if I say something like x equals 5, this is something you've probably seen in math before, and you might say like, oh, y equals, x plus 2 or something. So now you know that y is equal to 7. This doesn't tell you what the types of these things are. And a lot of languages that don't have types like this built in, you could say x equals 5, and then later you could say x equals Adam, and then later you could say x equals like new cat or something like that. And this would just be totally valid. You can just change the type on the fly and you'll never know what x is supposed to refer to. JavaScript is one of these languages that by default lets you do that. The languages just have dynamic typing and you can change them at will. Python has a way of it has optional typing that you can have. And then there's a language called TypeScript, which is basically JavaScript with types. So Python with the typing or TypeScript are both good choices. But I don't recommend JavaScript without typing of some sort or Python without typing. I don't think either of those is a good choice. I support Golang for beginners. I find it to be the sweet spot between low and high level languages. Still get exposed to pointers and refs, but don't have to deal with manual memory allocation. Yeah. I don't really think there's a bad first language to learn as long as it's not a joke language. Like you shouldn't be learning lolcat or whitespace. That's a waste of time. But yeah, as long as I mean even a quote unquote bad language like JavaScript, I still don't think it's bad to learn as a beginner. I just think you should try to use it in the best possible way. And in that case, it's like, yeah, just learn TypeScript. Seems like it would make things easier, but it doesn't. I think it makes things easier in a like very sanitized environment. So let's say you're working in the Python REPL, for example. You're here and you're like, okay, x equals 5. What is x plus 2? Oh, it's 7. Okay, now let's set x equal to Adam. And now what is x times 2? Oh, it's Adam. It's like, okay, this environment, yeah, I don't want static typing here. This is totally fine. Like you're just messing around. You're just learning things. I think that's okay. But as soon as you start writing a real program, quote unquote real program, I think it is much better to have static typing. Otherwise, you'll run into issues down the line where you'll be like, oh, I changed the type and I didn't realize, or this thing happened. And you want to catch as many errors as early on as possible. And that's true for practically everything. This is why we have the expression measure twice, cut once. Like, you don't want to make a costly mistake. And that's kind of what types let you do, is figure out ahead of time, like, does everything match? Does the square peg fit into the square hole? It does? Okay, cool. Then we won't have a problem down the line. Always turn on them to require function return types and static typing for GDScript. I know this is unrelated to the original question. Yeah. Anything like that where it just gives you more confidence in the code you wrote. You can essentially think of it like a very like large scale automated test for your application. And the automation is done by your compiler or by your runtime environment, depending on what we're talking about here. But yeah, it's like writing a test for everything that you get almost for free. Yeah. Adam squared. They could have a hard time learning programming nowadays. It's so easy to be lazy with AI tools and without really understanding what's happening. Yeah, but I think there were always ways for you to skip over learning something. And the simplest example of this is, imagine cheating off of a test in school. Like, you could always just look over at your neighbor and just copy their answers and you wouldn't have learned anything and you'd still get good grades as long as you're not caught. So I think the temptation was always there. I think AI is very accessible. So you can approach it with natural language and say, hey, why do cats sleep for so many hours per day? And it'll answer you. And you don't know for sure if it's right. But yeah, it's easy to just assume that it is. Yeah. Yeah, sure thing, Callie. Yeah. I got it 3 times and it's still too short. Also easier to delude yourself into thinking you understood something. Yeah. This is one of those things though where you can never truly know. Like, this is probably a dumb example, but someone told me the other day, I'll send you a check. And then they did a direct deposit into my account using, in the US at least, it's called ACH, Automated Clearinghouse. And I was like, is that a check? Did they lie to me? And I looked up online and like, I guess it's kind of considered an electronic check. I'm not totally sure. So I just, whatever, I got the money. It didn't matter. But this is one of those cases where it's like, I just assume that I understood what a check is. Maybe I don't. And you don't ever find out until something causes you to confront that assumption. I think it's kind of the same thing in coding where it's like, hey, I learned this with AI. I just assume that I know it. Or I learned it without AI. I assume that I know it. And you don't find out till later, like, oh, it works differently from that. All right. So did we write anything about this whole, like, how to reference. I don't think I did. No, I don't think I did. Write notes in C# about how I think it's be nice to have future reference. One major benefit is you see something like this in your code base and wonder which file it is. Oh. Yeah, but I think a downside of this is how this is going to save, right? Because we use strings for everything, which means they'll save as strings. I wonder if there's some way to get them to save as integers, maybe a hash code, but they'd all have to have unique hashes. Or is that already done? String ID. Can I just run this? Yeah. Hey, Pressel. Not much is up here. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I think the downside is using strings for this. I don't know. I kind of want to save this somewhere. I wonder if it'll be saved for good. Maybe I should just copy the text. Yeah, this is not worth doing on stream. Yeah, I'll save this some other time. So I'm definitely not switching. I'm going to say write notes about this. Write that a downside is that you would save string IDs to save files. It's rarely just one right way. Yeah, yeah. I kind of joked a long time ago, back in 2020, I was prepping for tech interviews and we got to system design stuff. And I said every single system design question has the same answer. It depends. And it's true while also not being helpful. And that the whole reason you have system design interviews is to figure out the understanding of the candidate. And it's like, oh, how would you make Twitter? It's like, well, what are you optimizing for? How many customers do you have? I don't know. There's like a whole bunch of stuff you'd need to ask in order to figure out. And like, that's the point of the interview. But I think it's similar with coding, at least. Very often, and this doesn't matter in a lot of practical cases, but very often there's a trade-off between like space and time and maybe, I don't know, abstraction and developer time spent and all sorts of little things like that you might make different decisions. And I think a confounding one there a little bit is sometimes you incur tech debt to meet a deadline. It's like, doesn't mean that you want the tech debt, but it might have been the right decision to make worse code. I don't think town.cs should be calling update selected character manually because there's already a signal, so just put it there. All right, this seems pretty minor, both as a problem and also to fix. So let's just take a look at it. I think we already did this. Yeah. So is this private now? It can't be private. Can't be private because of the cheats menu. X-ray diagnosis for a broken wrist. What happened? Was it while working out? I hope you recover, man. Molvac, I think, just mentioned a broken hand. He mentioned a broken wrist. I feel like we're working our way through the whole body. Someone's next going to report like a broken forearm or something. Fell on ice. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Can the requester provide bounds and properly describe requirements for the request? Then I won't be annoying and say it depends. Well, yeah, but I think that is kind of the point. It's like they wouldn't just say, how would you store, I don't know, how would you store user records? And then that's it. That's the end of the question. And they'll never give you more input. You'd be like, okay, well, how much data is there? Because maybe they're trying to get you to just scope down the question. It could just be to find out, oh yeah, user data is literally just an ID and a name. And you might be like, oh, well, let's, I don't know, use a SQLite database. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. As opposed to some like sharded across multiple availability zones. Has to always have a cache in front of it. I don't know. All right, this seems done. Delay the achievement on dying during the intro. Oh, right. This is something I think Codex suggested, and I looked into this briefly. Easiest way is just make a public function from code and call it from the animation player in Godot. This is kind of difficult to test. I got to go into Steam and clear out my achievements, but it's got to be the playtest version. Let's just look at it one time really fast. Gotta go. Have a nice rest of the stream. I'll annoy Adam with the translation questions next stream. Yeah, and I'll try to respond to your DMs today if I can. I hope I'll have enough time. But thank you, Irad. Okay, so I gotta open Steam from the command line. How do you do that again? This apparently with dash console. Okay, engage privacy mode. Give me 1 sec. It's loading. It's taking its sweet time. Come on. Where did Steam go? There it is, logging in. All right, cool. Now I can show this. All right, so we go to the console and we figure out how to reset stats, reset all stats, and then we got to find the app ID. Should be this. Yeah. Failed. I think you just type it again and it eventually succeeds. Nope. What am I doing wrong? Yeah, what am I doing wrong here? Is this not the playtest? It's the playtest, right? What? Yeah, what? This is the number I'm typing, right? No, that's different. Oh, this is a depot. And the depot is based on the app ID. The app ID is correct. Oops, I didn't mean to type it like that. Yeah, what am I doing wrong? Strange. Reset all stats. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I need to update this? Success? Okay, I don't know. If this fails, try updating the game first. Yeah, I did not expect that. Also, it'd be nice if it just told you why it failed instead of just saying it failed. All right, so I'm going to turn off my cameras for a second. I want to see the timing of the achievement here. So let's just watch the intro until we get the achievement. New game. Time for my first adventure. Still get a kick out of this intro. I put a lot of work into this. Okay, so that's it. That's the timing. Is that too fast? Is that... Where's the X? There it is. Like, it happened... It happened pretty much immediately. Yeah, I think it is too fast. I think Codex is right. I think let's delay this. So how many frames would we delay it by? Because right now we're showing it like there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 40 frames. 50. 70. 90. Yeah, so maybe like 1 second, I think. So 1 second of delay. And I wrote the easiest way to do this would just be to have a public function in the animation player. Okay, yeah, it is the easiest way. So let's do that. So this is intro shop. And there's the achievement. Where's the achievement? Mark watched your own death. Mark achieved on stream. Okay, that should be after 1 second. Mark that you fully died. Put that up there. Yeah, I think this is good. Okay, so now let's go put that in the animation player. Build. What is this? Deal poison to player? Okay, so the final deal to poison player, or sorry, whatever I just said. The final one of those needs, after 1 second, we now call mark that you fully died. Or roughly 1 second. So we go to intro shop, go to our animation player. On death. Start scene. There's the deal poison to player. But then we switch to the death track here. So it's got to be 1 second into dying. So we just put this like, probably right up where the camera starts zooming. Yeah, like 0.87 seconds. That's probably fine. So we just insert a key here, fully died. There. And let's put that at roughly the same exact point as they had it. Yeah. Maybe even just the slightest bit before that. Hey, Edie, where have I been? What do you mean? I've been streaming. Yeah, you were here a year ago. I've streamed like probably like 150 or 200 times. Wait, no, maybe, yeah, something like that. Well, anyway, Happy New Year, Edie. Welcome back. Happy 2026. This is very concerning here. Oh, wait, unless this is about customers. Yeah, it's about customers. This is not concerning anymore. All right, so that's it. We should have just fixed this, so let's just go try it again. Oh, wait, we can't try it again. Not like that, at least. Oh, no, we can, because the Steam thing doesn't need to actually be a Steam app. This just needs to have the right app ID, which I assume it does. When we make the release thing work, where is this? Yeah, make sure achievements are marked for the full game, not the playtest version. And the magic part is the important part of that. Let nobody forget it. Okay, so I think we just rerun this and then do the exact same thing I did. All right, so camera's off. We're gonna watch the intro again, and this time the achievement should be delayed by like 0.8 seconds. So let's watch this thrilling story one more time. Oh, wait, that's not the thrilling story. I gotta enable the cutscene. When you set this to false. Okay, there. So the only reason I'm doing this is to see if after you die, do you get the achievement when your body hits the ground? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's good timing. All right. Neat. Well, I don't know if we gave Codex a point for that. I'm nearly positive it was Codex who suggested it. Let me make sure. Yeah. Here it is. Minor critique. Should award it after the sound effect plays out. Looks like it awarded it at the start of the death animation. I think the time. I think points are for the week. All right. Well, then I guess you're weak. Oh man. I really hope people appreciate some of these things that we're doing here. All right. What is this? Track keys 0.81. It's probably fine. Did I save that? Reset. Yeah, I think this is good. Maybe I should write a comment that like, yeah, we call, I'll just write it like this. Note, we call this from the animation player so that it's roughly timed with your body hitting the ground. What a weird comment to type. Oh, man. Okay. Change achievement timing during intro. I delayed it a bit as per Codex DG's suggestion. Think about all the players spamming keys to skip the intro. Poor Adam. I mean, you can skip the intro, just to be clear. There's the skip button at the bottom. And the key is just escape. So you press escape once and it goes to really skip. You press it again, it skips. Oh, speaking of which, the skip button should have a texture filter of nearest, and the outro should have the same thing. Where's the skip button? Oh, here. And then what? These are all set to linear? They're not. Oh my goodness, they're not. Look at that jagged text. Wait a second. That's what was causing this problem? Hold your horses. Oh my goodness, it looks so much better. Look at how bad it was before. How did I not notice that? Oh man. Really should have thought of that. I think somewhere along the way I forgot that you needed to even do this with labels. Not be tied with 15 other people. Hey, it might happen. Hey, Jangtron. I don't think I've seen you in forever, right? I have not seen you in forever. Huh. It's funny, actually, going back through your history for the last 2 years in chat. You're mostly here during summer. All right, so is there any other text in here? In fact, now that I think about it, so all this stuff should be fixed, right? Need antidote label. That's not even what this thing is it? Oh, no, it is. But then intro battle. Need antidote should have linear. Any other text that I might have missed? Especially gigantic text like that? Quest accepted, maybe? There's a banner. Oh my goodness. This stuff's all wrong. I didn't think to test this too. Oh man. Oh man. Okay, let me go try this again. Never noticed it myself. Well, it was different, I think, more than 2 years ago. Care to elaborate what you just changed? It was in the inspector behind your cam. So that was the texture filter, and eventually my notes on this will be public. But in short, if you have a pixel art graphic, you want to use the texture filter of nearest. If you have pretty much anything else, you want it to be set to linear. And that I have my global project setting default to nearest. So I need to override it now for anything with text. If you're using a pixel art font, you probably don't really need to override it. And if you're not using any pixel art whatsoever, you can probably just set it to linear globally and then never touch it. But yeah, so here's what I noticed. And I think we have the right test set up for this. So I do this and then this. So this text is jagged and I just never noticed. And now we're going to fix it. And then do that exact same thing. And then look at the difference in the pictures. Oh, I'm glad I'm spending time on this stuff. All these little things I hope add up, even if it's just to like a plus 1% enjoyment of the game. Subconsciously. All right, so here's the difference in these two. So we have screenshot 1 and screenshot 2. Now the colors are going to change, of course, because it's animated and I didn't try to take it at exactly the same time. But if we just look at the word elite, for example. So first one should be bad. Yep, you see the jaggedness. Second one should be good. And then what about this text? The T at the top of this. All right, so this one's the first one that should be bad. And this one should be good. It's zoomed out a little differently. This one's a little bit harder to tell, but I do think it looks better. Do we have any other text in the intro? Intro quest. Do we have a banner here? We do. Oh my God. That's already set to linear. Okay, so that one's looking good. Let's just look through all the different intro scenes. There aren't that many. That one should be fine. That one we just did. Intro battle, I think we looked at. An intro shop. Yeah, I think it should be fine. You can really tell in the W. Oh, yeah. I guess because of how jagged W is as a letter to begin with. Yeah. Okay, fix some more texture filters. Some of these were for very large pieces of text, meaning I forgot to check these originally. Well. All right, that means I do want to test one thing, which is what happens when you beat the game. Can we watch the outro? Spoilers, okay? For anyone who wants to actually play the game. I spent a lot of time in the outro, so you should not watch right now. Oh, it looks a lot better. So silly. All right, there's one thing I kind of want to do, which I didn't notice until now, but when there's slowdown in a game, there's usually like a sound of it slowing down. And I think we should have had one of those in here. Really enjoyed it. Totally dig the mix of base building and auto battling. One thing I noticed, sorry if it's already fixed or unimportant, is that the tavern and extractor are the wrong way around and then quick select. Wrong way around meaning you're saying they're like relative positions in the world are not where they are? Because these are ordered in terms of how often I think you'll use them. So the extractor is 3 and the tavern is 4. Because I expect people to use the extractor more often than the tavern. You're the first person to comment on that. But I think I'm going to keep it how it currently is. One thing we could do to alleviate that is reverse the order of this. So 2 is on this side and 5 is on this side. But I don't think that's clearer. So I think we're just going to leave it. Yeah. The 1G tip suggestion was the best. Yeah, I love that. I think that was Athletics who suggested that. Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. Yeah, I think we're just going to leave it as it is. Because, yeah, we're not... There's no... I think the frequency matters more. You can change the shortcuts on these, by the way, but I don't think most people will. Maybe in other languages or other keyboard styles. Okay, what was I going to do? Oh, yeah, the slowdown thing. I think that'd be nice to do. Add a slowdown sound for the outro when time slows. What I'm picturing, and this is hard to get across via text, is almost like a debuff sound where the pitch descends rapidly. We would probably want the opposite when you come out of the slowdown. An ascending one. Yeah. Slow-mo guys sound. Do they use something like that? Because yeah, that's probably what I'm thinking. Although I haven't watched a lot of their videos. Just ended up putting potions to the extractor instead of the quest by accident a few times, so the frequency makes sense. Yeah, and for what it's worth, accidentally putting something in the wrong spot is never like such a punishing mistake in Skeleseller. Even toward the end of the game. Well, actually, especially toward the end of the game when you start getting so many items that every individual one doesn't really make a huge difference. But it is good to give feedback like that, because if it were just like, oh yeah, I can just fix that in a second. In this case, I think it would muddy other parts of the game. But it might have been a quick fix. But yeah, thanks for trying the demo. Something I'm not sure of, because I've not been asking people about this, and I don't know how Steam prioritizes this stuff, but like, how important are reviews for a demo? Where are the reviews? What? Oh, that there. Yeah. Yeah, how important are reviews? Because for a released game, I think they're really important. And also, the only way you can see overwhelmingly positive is if you have more than 500 reviews, or maybe 500 or more, and that you have a certain percentage, 90% or something. So I guess that might potentially help. But, you know, I definitely need to push for reviews at launch. In fact, this is one of the big things. Like, on day one, and I'm probably going to end up saying this a lot, but if you buy Skeleseller, please review it. Steam doesn't even show your game to new people until you have at least 10 reviews. So those first 10 are like super important. And I'm not saying, you know, review it positively or don't review it at all. I mean, obviously a positive review is better than a negative review for the game. I'm not trying to manipulate the quality of reviews, just the quantity by asking people to review it. But that's on launch day. That's March 17th. I think it's what you're describing. Yeah. That's probably it. I'll put that in the issue. I'll just paste this here. But I'm not going to watch it on stream right now. Sometimes you have to do unethical things. I mean, the unethical thing would be saying, like, just go review it positively. Don't even play the game. I've never wanted to do that. I don't want to, yeah. I want people to review how they would normally review, but I definitely need the quantity of reviews on launch day to be higher than what normally is the case. All right, so where we leave off now. So that's done. Work on localizing achievements. I don't want people to finish localizing the game and then quit on me. That's pretty funny. Actually, I'm not sure this is the best thing to do if I'm prepping for playtesters. What? Oh, I see what I meant. Yeah, this line is pointless now. Okay. Localizing achievements and the Steam page. I mean, this is one of the like bigger projects we have to do. Maybe we'll do this in the afternoon. Hmm. Hmm. UI UX feels really crisp. Well, thanks. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. A lot of work has gone into it. And one thing that you might be interested in seeing, not like watching all of these, but every once in a while, I'll just go back to like a random day of Skelliseller. So that's 46.5. Coding the Paladin. I might not even show the game in this video, but let's see if I do somewhere obvious. Yeah. Like, here's what the game looked like on day 46. You can see this random patch of ground there. This is unthemed. Whatever, this is the battle. There are no animations on the adventurers. The font looks bad. There's no border on the instance thing there. I think there was a dialogue. Yeah, this was the instance map. It was just a list of places. Like, look at this thing. So if you wanted to battle in the forest, you clicked forest and then started the battle at the bottom of the dialogue, and you'd pick your party through here. Like, it worked. It was a thing, but it was terrible compared to what we have. So yeah, that was day 46. And I do kind of wonder, like, if you were watching back then, were you like, man, this guy's never going to finish this game? This guy's got so far to go. And now what day are we up to? I think day 288 or something. I mean, you guys can see the title. I can't. But, no, I could if I just go to this page. What is it? Yeah, 288. Yeah. So when people say, hey, this game needs like another year of bake time, it's really not to be underestimated. And I think a lot of games have that sort of potential, but they don't necessarily have the resources to capitalize on it. By the way, Xyletics, I don't know if you saw it, but because I'm pretty sure you're the originator of this, but Sockton gave you this little compliment here. This is for the outro where you suggested that I change it to a 1 gold tip. All right, so should we focus on this in the afternoon? I feel like we probably should. Focus on localizing the Steam page and achievements. Steam pages and achievements. While we still have translators actively looking at stuff. Maybe make a new component on Weblate. Been in calls all morning. Okay, well, I'm glad I passed that along. And while Steam is pushing the game more. Man. Okay, I think we'll do that in the afternoon. I say in the afternoon. I mean, it's 11:30. I've been sitting at this computer without taking a break. I gotta stop doing that. Also, I never showed this off. On Friday, it was like I got done with work. I got done streaming. I did a bunch of other stuff. I'm like, you know what? Let's do some more work. And I never showed this. I got the customer desire thing working. So now you can manually fulfill them by dragging items to them. So if I continue the game and we need to find a customer who wants something. So let's get the armor shop. I need money. Oh, that gave me an achievement. All right, so now I go fight over here. I guess we could just level up the archer a bunch of times. Yeah. That also gave me an achievement. Every time we save, we get auto battle. We go to the canyon. Start a fight. Okay, cool. So now we need to get one of each item. And then we just stop. So now at some point, maybe if I get more customers. Okay, at some point, a customer will want a specific thing. So let's speed this up. Yeah, sorry. This is a prerequisite for showing off the work I did. We're just waiting. There. Okay, so that person wants a yellow potion. It used to be that you would put a yellow potion on this stand and then this person would buy it and you'd be like, oh my God. And then you put another one down and then the other person would buy it. and you just want this person to get it. Well, now you can just drag this onto the person. They stop for a little bit and they buy the item from you. And that's it. That took a decent amount of time to do, though. And I think the experience is pretty decent. It only, like, there's no error that shows when you click someone who doesn't want something. It doesn't even highlight them. It prioritizes them over the shops and everything. You do any considerations in regards to player earning Steam inventory items? I only have an issue open on it. I haven't actually done anything yet. Yeah. Anyway, I would show this off if, well, if they want a blue potion, we can go get that for them. Yeah, I wanted to show this one more time because of how much time I spent on it. So you take this, put it over here. Oh, and they have a drop zone too, so you can actually like miss them by a little bit. But I'm not going to show that off. Yeah. Just trust me on that one. Make customers invisible when they're outside of town, then make them visible only when they enter town. Why? Oh, in case they can see, in case a player can zoom out so far, they'd see them in just some waiting area. Yeah. All right, leave town. This should be pretty easy to do. So when they enter the leave town state, what happens here? There's an outside of town. So here we should just do entity.hide. And when they leave this, we should show them. So can we stop the camera from having boundaries? Bounds, map bounds. How do we stop the bounds from mattering? Clamp position of camera bounds. Yeah, let's just turn this off. Oh, wait, we got to return a vector too, though. So let's just return the position. There. Okay. Now if I run this, we should be able to see the customers enter the town from outside of it. I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit. I think we should be able to do this. Oh yeah, you see him like walking in the trees there. Weirdly, I thought I saved after, I guess I didn't save after getting more customers. Okay, so I need them to leave town so we can test this out. So let's speed this up. And I need someone to eventually leave, and then I'll slow it down and we'll take a look. They have, oh, there we go. That person's leaving. Okay, so let's watch them very closely. They're going to walk somewhere over here probably. And then they should just disappear. Yeah, so they're probably gone. Then they come back eventually. So I think what we should really do is just add like a higher z-index thing here that just makes them hide as soon as they enter this. Because this looks like they're going through a cave or something. And not that they're like walking amongst the trees. Yeah. Most people will never be able to see this, but if your monitor is zoomed out like super far. I think this is a good enough fix for right now. I think we'll just leave it at this. Hide the customer in case someone's resolution is so big they can see outside the normal camera bounds. Yeah. That's it. Now we revert this. Alternatively, more trees. Yeah. Or just increase the z-index of the trees. In fact, actually, this doesn't really have any impact. Yeah. All right, well, hide customers after they've left town. All right, z-index of items is +1 from the parent, so thought bubbles have items overlapping. I'm not really sure. I guess we just Y-sort this. Probably fix this with Y sorting. So now I need every customer to want something. Seek specific. Oh, that's unnecessary apparently. Oh, we should run .NET format. I'll put this up here. I don't want to get sidetracked right now. Otherwise, I would just do it. Can seek specific item. Here it is. So this is going to be return true. Delete the rest of this stuff. And the percent chance is going to be 1. So now everyone's going to want items. And we need them to overlap. Yeah. And I think there's going to be an issue. So continue. And let's make them want different items so it's obvious, which we can do by clicking that and then just throwing some of these in different places. I want some weapons. Oh yeah, I can just press 1 on the keyboard. There we go. Upgrade a shop. I want that skull shield. And that. No. I want this item. I want this to show up at the top bubbles. Okay, there. So now this looks fine. In fact, maybe this is already fixed because of Y sorting. Now we just need more customers. And then we speed this up. And it should just be a mess of desired items. Yeah, it is. Yeah, but they all look sorted fine. Yeah. All right. I think Y sorting is just handling this for us. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. Love removing things from this list because they were already fixed. So now let's revert this. Hey, Adam, how you doing? It's not me talking to myself. .NET format. This will find at least one problem that it can automatically fix, but it takes like 30 seconds, I think. Oh, and it's going to do this. Oh, God. Wasn't there some way I could stop that? Drat. Yeah, drat. In fact, I only found one problem. Oh, no, I found 2. And then I found 3. Oh, 4. Yeah, 4. So the list of changes is going to be huge, I think. There's some command I have that makes it not run on certain files. Dash. So I don't know what it is. Maybe doesn't exclude some part of this? Ignore? Whoops. Oh, did I write a script? I wrote a script. Yeah, here it is. Ugh. Think I remember this stuff? I don't remember this stuff. Maybe what we could do is write like, Adam, stop using .NET format this way. Use format.sh. Where is it? Yeah. And now when I type .NET format, now that's the last thing in my history. In fact, let's echo it with a little siren emoji. Oh yeah, that stands out. .NET format. This is so stupid. I mean, I could just remove it from my history entirely. The other entries. Whoops. All right, so what are we looking at yet? Is this done? It's still not done. This is why we shouldn't run it this way. This is taking forever. If it works, it works. Well, we'll be the judge of that in the future. I might be dense enough to just miss it. Okay, that took 2 entire minutes and probably modified everything. Yes. So now we're going to delete everything here that I modified. And then run it the way I should have run it, which is format.sh. Should be the same output. Yeah, so we removed some unused imports. Run .NET format. This one should finish much faster. This should only take like another 10 seconds maybe. Maybe 15. If you miss it, add more sirens. Maybe an exclamation mark. Maybe some more threatening emojis. Like a skull. Yeah, nice. All right, this is probably the last thing I'm going to do, and then I gotta get some food. It's possible that a customer in seek-specific item has the item taken out from under them. Should we prevent this? Should we render an angry face? All right, well, we're done with that now because I made it so that you could drag items to customers that desire them. Oh, wait, we're almost at the bottom of this list. Wow. We only have this stuff that's selected. Wow. That's amazing. All right, what are we down to in terms of character count? 16,000. Nice. Because we were at 20,000 the other day. The other day being Friday. I mean, when I started today, I guess. Morning, worked on to-do list down to this many characters. And then because I'm obsessed with this, let's take a look. How have number of units changed? So we were at 39 and 2 players before. We are at 44. Okay. And 3 players. Nice. Okay. So 5 more people have claimed the demo. Yeah, I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, but wishlist count has been like shooting up and the number of demo players has been shooting up. And I think Steam is just pushing the game a little bit more. So like we didn't used to get 44 people claiming the game each day. In fact, if I look back even just, yeah, let's go to the same time a week ago. So the 29th to the 29th. So on that one day, we got 7 people. And now we're at 44. So it's like 6.5 times. So that's pretty good. I hope it goes up by another like 6 times. It'd be crazy if I saw like 250 people claiming the demo every day. That'd be great. And then another 6 times and another 6 times, and then we'll have a hit game on our hands. How many powers of 6 do you need before you are happy with your game? All right, so I normally don't raid at lunch. If this person's online, I will raid them. They agreed to stream Skeleseller when it comes out, so it won't be today. But I don't see them online. No, they're not online. Okay, yeah, then I will not be raiding right now. All right, I'm gonna go get lunch. So it is 11:40. I've been streaming for 3 hours and 7 minutes. I'll be back by probably like 12:45. So about an hour. I'll get some food, recharge, and then we'll tackle maybe localization stuff. It depends on how I feel. Lappy Hunch, thank you. Or Yank too. All right, take care, everyone. I'll see you after lunch. If you want to join Discord, there's a link. See ya.